Okay, our meeting will come to order. For public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is posted in the back of this room on the east wall, if anyone needs to see that. We'll start with roll call.
Harris,
Here?
Reisig,
Here.
Meyer,
Here.
Blue,
Here.
Parsley.
Here. If we'd all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll mention a few of the announcements that I'd like to go over. Want to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded. The recording is for a broadcast at a later date. Remember that whoever wants to speak this evening, you are going to need to come forward to the podium here at the microphone once you're recognized. Once you come to the microphone, you'll need to give us your name and spell your name for the record. The spelling helps the clerk get your information correct in her minutes. Remember, there's no swearing or any other inappropriate language. We also need to check our cell phones, make sure they're turned off or onto silent. I also want to remind the commissioners to speak clearly and loudly enough directly into your microphones. We do have a fairly lengthy agenda tonight. Somewhere when I consider us about midway through or so, or if anyone up here would like for me to take a break, let me know. But we will take at least one break. I'd like to do them for about 8 minutes, about midway through the meeting. Again, because we have lots of items on the agenda, we'll try and keep our information and speeches, I guess, tonight as concise as possible, but we certainly want you to have an opportunity to say the things you need to say. So we don't want to restrict that. So I think those are our primary things for this evening. The next item is approval of the agenda and consider any modifications. Ms. Kelly?
So under the general agenda items, the second programming update from the 4-H Club, Panhandle Cookie Bites 4-H Club, we need to remove that, please. They're gonna come before you at another date. It just looked too long, and there's
So-
kids that are gonna be part of the presentation, so.
Okay, so on our agenda, it's the item that is on the top of the back page, the way I see it. So that item will be taken off for tonight. All right, anything else? All right, and entertain a motion.
I move to approve the agenda with the modification of the removal of the extension item.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda with the modification of removing the UNL item as presented by Ms. Kelly. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. All right, so I want to remind everyone that the board reserves the right to enter into a closed session. If need be, an executive session. We do not have any executive sessions scheduled, which are normally towards the end of the meeting. We do not have any planned for tonight, but we always reserve the right to do that if necessary during the meeting. The next item is going to normally go to the consent agenda. The very first part of this is an item that says Vice Chairman Reisig requests abstaining on action regarding claim number 26050000241. So, do we need to take action on that at this point?
Not on the abstention, he could move to just have that claim number retracted from the consent agenda and take it up separately.
And you know, it's
It's down
pulled out
below.
down here below,
It's already down below.
Okay,
so,
so it looks like on the agenda, it's already been retracted.
right. So, you've already pulled that out then, Ms. Kelly,
Yep,
and,
except for I
good.
failed to talk to Mr. Reisig so far yet, but
okay.
I just noticed that it was to your,
Well,
business.
maybe it.
So I need to make a motion to abstain from it then, don't I? Or not?
Do we need a motion to that at this point?
You don't need to vote on
Okay.
the abstention, but
Okay,
So how do I vote on the consent agenda without abstaining on that?
well, it's already,
it's already been retracted.
it's already been pulled out,
Okay, then I can
so,
go ahead and vote then, all right.
right. All right, and so, all right. Just, I guess, so we're aware of it. So I guess we can go ahead and go to the consent agenda. Again, the consent agenda is, intended, for these items to be acted upon by one motion unless any, commissioner would like to consider any one of these separately. Besides the one that we're gonna consider next, is there anything else that anyone would like to consider separately? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, and the one claim has already been pulled out. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
you have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. The next item is to discuss and consider the claim number 26050000241. And, Mr. Raisik, I think you should give us just a brief discussion about it so we know what's,
Okay,
what it is.
Steve Baird had ordered some pipe from, Ace Metals, and we're the distributor for Ace Metals in this part of the panhandle. So, it goes through my lumberyard, so I need to abstain from that purchase. That was, Steve had got his own quotes, I don't quote them any prices, they get their own quotes from the factory, and it goes through my account payable, so.
Okay. And this is the same company that we've had this same, issue where you abstain in the past.
That's right.
Okay. And you had mentioned to me that you had also spoken to the state about this and how you should handle it.
And they have me fill out an additional form. You guys all fill out a form now for conflicts, and I have to, an additional form in order to do sales.
Right. And
Through the Nebraska Accountabilities and Disclosure
right.
Commission.
Yeah.
okay.
Were there other things purchased besides
They,
whatever it was?
I think on this one not, but they, if they're up there working, they generally buy 2x4s if they're fixing or doing whatever. They buy stuff in the lumberyard a lot of times, so.
There are some on here that are under the same claim number. They're small, but
Okay. Well, I didn't even look at the claim, so I have people that do that, so.
I've talked with Russ about this, and Mark and Ken, I hadn't had a chance to talk with Mike about it, and I know it's a pre-approved report, but to me, it appears to be a conflict of interest, and maybe I'm not seeing it, but if the commissioner is a recipient of one of these county contracts, I think even if it's ethical, or even if it's legal according to the Accountability and Disclosure Commission, I think ethically, I have a problem with it, and I've talked with Russ about it.
Yes, you did.
I don't wanna make a big deal about it, but I did wanna state where I'm at with this. So, and it doesn't necessarily deal with this contract, I think just generally, commissioners, because of our position, should probably stay away from those being the recipient of any contract, even if there's no profit being made. I think the perception in the public is that, it's, a good old boy system where we benefit from county, expenditures, so.
Okay. The,
Go ahead, Ken.
No, I'd just like to hear your opinion on it.
Well, my opinion is, like I said, I'm the distributor, and I've told, Matt, if they decide to go right to the factory and buy it and pay the factory's gonna send me a commission check. So I don't really, I don't know how you work around a distributorship. I have a distributor for that product.
I think, Jason, you've been, privy to this discussion, I think, at least on one occasion or two before, that he's abstained, and you've heard the information concerning it. And, in at least the boards that, I've been involved with, this is being handled the same or similar to what I've been used to. And that if, it's not totally out of the question that a elected official, could be a participant in a bid or some type of a, sale to the county, but they should certainly abstain from voting on it and shouldn't give any undue, influence on the purchase of those things to any of the staff. And I think, that would be, I see Steve's not here, I don't think, tonight.
Well, the way Steve does it, I don't have any part of the process of bidding. He calls the factory direct and gets a bid from the factory. I don't project any values on any product. When it goes through the factory, then they figure whatever commission is normal, and that's the way it's set up, so.
He deals
I
with them.
don't work on any bid end of it. The bid comes from the factory to Steve directly and billed to my company.
So historically, then,
We don't bid
it
anything.
sounds like as has been done, there is a specific form that the Nebraska Political Accountability and Disclosure Commission has where you disclose a conflict of interest. And, historically, when it comes time to vote, a commissioner could say, I have a conflict because of my involvement with the business receiving a payment. And so I request that, that I will, or in this case, it's already been removed from the consent agenda, so I am abstaining from discussion and voting and can't take any action to try to influence the remaining commissioners. And then through that filing of that form, someone could object to, further object, but
Then they can come audit my account and go from there, so that's all they can do.
Well, I could go back to instances when I was still in real estate, where we were doing a zoning change, as an example. And that property, was either listed or being sold by somebody in the company that I was associated with. I didn't receive anything personally from it. The individual was, but I was chastised because I was even voting on it, cause it was the company that I was involved in. Now, did I receive any compensation for it? No,
I'm not voting on it.
I didn't. What's that?
I'm not gonna be voting on it.
Well, no, I was, and I abstained from voting on it also.
Yeah.
But, on the other hand, I wasn't receiving any compensation. But the appearance was that I worked for the company, the individual that was presenting the zoning change through the planning department. I was still chastised for that, for even being part of it. And you and I have a difference as far as the procedure to do all of this, but I would dismiss myself and not even vote on it after getting beat up a little bit on it, which was fine. I'm all right with that. But I think in a small community, you're gonna run into that. You're gonna run into the times where somebody is associated with somebody, whether it be Mark in his business or anything else. If there's work that is done and you're going to receive compensation for doing that, you're still receiving county money. And I think we just need to be careful with that. That's
I
all
think
I'm saying.
Well, that's why I called the accountability office and asked them if there was anything, or should I just totally avoid it? And they said, you don't have to avoid it. They said, here's a form you have to fill out, which makes you eligible to do that, and that's what I did. And so we do, that's all in place, and supposedly it's supposed to be, hold water.
so, and I think that is where we've been in the past on this, and just want to be aware of that, I guess, in this process, and we'll go from there. So I would ask, is there anyone that would like to offer a motion?
I move to approve and consider claim number 02605000241.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve that claim. Is there a second? I'll second it. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses and Reisig abstained.
Okay, so the motion's carried. Okay, we'll go on to the next item. The next item is a public hearing to discuss and consider appointment of trustees of the Hospital Authority Number 1 of Scotts Bluff County, Nebraska. Mr. Holyoke, you're here, and you want to come up and tell us about these items?
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Tom Holyoke, Holyoke. The petition before you for the appointment of trustees is the statutory process for appointing the trustees of the hospital authority. It's a little bit different this year because there are 2 named on the petition, those being Lex Larson and Lad Harrison. But historically, we've always had a member of the County Board of Commissioners as a trustee, and it's normally been the chairman. Mr. Meyer is presently the chairman of the authority, and got there on the basis of being the chairman of the commission. It's my understanding that Mr. Harris is presently the chairman, but will not be after the first of the year because he's not running for re-election. So there will be a new chairman of the commissioners. The term for a trustee is by statute 6 years. So we have a blank at this point in the naming of the 3rd trustee. And I cannot resolve that. I think only you gentlemen can do that.
Yeah, and so I certainly have no problem with the thought of not being that person because of my lame duck status. But, the real question here is, you know, I'm not sure even who's gonna be up here. Really, actually, Mike just won election and looks like that position's filled, but Mr. Parsley will still be running in the primary election. And, the general election, I should say, not the primary. And so who will be here exactly at that point, we don't know. And then more importantly, none of us will be, well, I shouldn't say none of us, but if it's a 6-year time period, there's no guarantee that that person will be there that long, but I don't think you can deal with that. I mean, nobody knows for sure who will be here for 6 years. So do you have a preference in how we deal with it?
Well,
Do you need to have someone on there at
there-
least at least for the, at least till
Not-
January or
not
not?
necessarily. There is no statutory requirement that a commissioner be a trustee. If Mr. Meyer would like to continue as a trustee, why, that would be one solution. And the Board of Trustees of the authority could elect him as the chair or not, as it saw fit. So it's really at the pleasure of the board here as to how you'd like to proceed and whether you'd like to have a commissioner as one of the trustees.
And maybe between yourself and or Ken, refresh our memories about the authority that this, committee has, or this authority has, and what is it that, that are their primary responsibilities to be voting on?
We are dependent completely in the authority on an exempt healthcare institution approaching the authority for the issuance of tax-free bonds. Its purpose is to finance exempt healthcare institutions within the county. At the present, there is but one. It has not accessed the hospital authority since 2016. Whether it intends within the next few years to decide to borrow some money, I don't know. But the authority is there for that purpose.
And I believe I've asked the question before, but even though we're on there, it doesn't obligate the county as far as, being responsible for those bonds.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. The issuer of the bonds is the authority, and the borrower would be the healthcare institution. And of course, the bonds are secured by the assets of the healthcare institution.
Sure.
We can clear this up really quickly. I don't mind staying on. I'm gonna be here for the next 2 years, or 2.5 years. If that's what the board wants to do. After that, then you're gonna have to find, somebody else. I've been to one meeting, that's all.
Yeah, that's all there's been.
It's not like it's a real busy committee to be on. And, so I have no problem just staying on, if it's all right with everybody else. If not,
That's good.
if somebody else wants to
I'm
do it,
okay
it's
with
fine with me. I don't wanna fight anybody.
happy to leave you on there.
Well, your term expires at the end of this month,
Right,
so you would have to be
reappointed.
reappointed.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, that's fine with us.
well, it's up to these folks.
That's
I-
fine.
I don't really care.
Mike, are you okay with that?
I'm okay
Matt?
with it.
I like the idea of having board representation
Right,
on it, so
Right.
if
We don't wanna
Ken's
lose
willing
that.
to do that, I'm okay with
Like I
that.
said, I've been to one meeting.
right, and that's
Well,
over several years.
That's over
Many
several years,
right.
yes. So it's not like it's a real active sort of a thing, but, I'm fine with it. If that helps you guys out so that there is. no
Yes, sir,
harm
it
to others.
does, thank you.
We need to take action on that, guys, or?
Yeah, so it looks like we do, so we have at least a resolution here, is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Um,
There's 2 items.
so this says discuss and consider appointment of trustee of Hospital Authority number 1 of Scotts Bluff County. So Tom, would that be, and then the next item says discuss and consider approval of resolution. So is this first part just the discussion?
It is, and
Okay.
the public hearing portion,
Okay, so we better at least say that we're opening the public hearing.
yes.
And, we would ask for any input from the public on this item. If anyone would like to speak in favor or against or anything about this resolution, you're welcome to come now and speak. All right, let the record show there were none, and, then I think that would close the public hearing portion of this, the first part of this, and now we're to the second portion, which is discuss and consider approval of the resolution, of the appointment of trustee of the Hospital Authority number 1, Scotts Bluff County, Nebraska. And so, I would move approval of the resolution, and by adding the name of, Commissioner Ken Meyer, as the county, appointee.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Is there a second to
I'll
that?
second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any other, discussion on this item?
So for clarification, we have, Lexelon Larson, Lad Harrison, and Commissioner Ken Meyer.
And
Is that
then-
what we're?
Yes, sir.
Right, his name will be written in this line here, okay. All right. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll vote.
I'm gonna go ahead and vote, cause I don't get any money from these guys, so,
There you go. I think that's all right.
just to let you know,
Yeah.
at least yet.
5 yeses.
All right, motion's carried. And that's with the addition of Commissioner Ken Meyer's name to be added there.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. For me to sign, you mean? Yeah. Okay, so I think that takes care of both of those items. We'll move next to the Board of Equalization. We'll need a motion to go into the Board of Equalization.
I move, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead.
I move to the board move into the Board of Equalization.
Okay,
I'll
there-
second that.
all right. So we have a motion and a second to move into the Board of Equalization. We could go ahead and vote on that.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's approved, so we'll go on to the, first item, which is discuss and consider approval of one veteran vehicle exemption waiver.
Which I do have that, but you have my other vehicle exemption. You took the copy of it. I never got that back.
Yeah,
The one
so,
for Zion Church.
so there was
That's
one
my only copy.
on the Zion Church, and I believe that Jason is suggesting that we take that up, as part of the next line item,
Okay,
and we'll talk
Can I
about
just-
that.
get it back so I have it. It's the only one I have for reference.
Yeah, you mean for the next item?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right here, so.
Thank
So at least for
So
for this item, yeah,
Yep.
tell us about this
So
one.
for this one, we have the new veterans vehicle exemption, which started January 1st. This particular veteran bought a vehicle on March 2nd locally, came in and licensed it on March 24th. Did not state that he was a disabled veteran because he claims he did not know about the vehicle exemption. So he was not given the vehicle exemption at the time that he registered the vehicle. but according to when he bought it, when he licensed it, and whether or not he is eligible, he is completely eligible for it. He just did not request it at the time of registration. It would be a total tax loss of $318, because he still has to pay sales tax. But when I went in and did the estimate this afternoon, he would be just $318 is what he would get back. So the last one that I did, I found out that with the letter that he's provided, the letter that Matt's provided, and with the minutes from the commissioner meeting, the state will go ahead and grant these. But they do require all of that information for me to go in and change that.
So is that the time that you apply for that, Heather?
He
Is when-
needed
is
to
when
say
it's due?
something when he licensed his new vehicle.
Do you need any
and-
other paperwork or anything to go
No,
with it?
because it should pull up with his social security number in the
Okay.
computer and let us know whether or not he's eligible for it, and he just did not say anything, so the girls in my office did not know he was eligible for it.
So what makes you eligible for it?
You
Did
have to
ver-
have you actually have to be registered with the veterans, in their healthcare system and
Right.
have a disability rating of actually 0% or more, and, Mr. McClure is at 90%.
Gotcha, okay. I wasn't sure, I was asked that a couple times, I didn't know
So-
it was like the homestead exemption or the others where you gotta.
Basically, if you're, a disabled veteran of any percentage, you are eligible for it,
And
whether
you-
you have a 5% disability or a 100%
And
disability.
you just notify that then?
But they have to, the problem is that it's new. The state wasn't that great about getting that information out. I know that
Sure.
Matt is trying his best downstairs with his veterans. We do have signs up, but people still forget to ask.
Sure.
And it's one of those things where my staff can't just ask it, because if they ask the wrong person
Okay,
that doesn't have it, then somebody's
so
gonna
the
be mad
bottom
the
line
other way.
bottom line is when they come in to register their vehicle, they just tell
They
one of your
honestly,
gals?
they just need to tell us.
They just need to tell you that,
And
okay,
they're being
Yeah.
instructed by the Veteran Service Office that they make sure to do that when they
Yeah.
register their vehicle, and so.
And I know that
Yes.
they are, but a lot of those guys just aren't saying
Yeah.
anything.
so do you get to pick which vehicle is exempt, or
You get one,
just
you
one,
get
doesn't
one
matter?
a year.
Yeah.
And if you
Okay.
get a vehicle exemption, like in February, buy a new vehicle, in May, you have to license the new vehicle, we can make it due in February and move that to your newer vehicle, but you only get
Okay.
one a year.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Is there anything on their driver's license that would verify, or not verify, but would identify to your
I mean,
staff?
your thing might say, your driver's license might say veteran, but
Would-
a lot of times that's just on a piece of
Doesn't
paper
say
and not
DAV.
necessarily, they don't always get
Okay,
the thing. I don't know with this one, I might have been able to request it because he did, register the vehicle within that 30-day time frame, but I thought it best to bring it in front of you, just in case, cause I
That's
wanna make
fine.
sure he gets what he's due.
And fortunately, the state allows you to rectify
Yes.
it and
They
and
did
straighten it
allow,
out.
yeah.
And that'll
yeah.
be particularly important for this first year or two,
Yes,
probably.
because, yeah, it has to go through the Board of Equalization is what I
Yeah.
found out,
Okay,
so,
but
And-
yeah, we are able to rectify it,
You
and
are.
that's good.
yeah, it's
So,
perfectly legal.
Okay,
And for clarification, so on the
On his-
registration
The
receipt,
copy of, yep, on
it
the
does show,
copy of,
a motor vehicle tax and a
and
motor
the
vehicle fee.
registration fee.
Okay, so, I see the two that are, so what he is
And-
asking to be reimbursed for is two ninety-seven and 21.
Mm-hmm.
Those two, the tax and the,
Yeah, yeah,
so, okay.
so,
but, yeah, and you've, offered him everything that he's eligible for here,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
yeah, and I ran the tax loss, I went in to do a vehicle fix this afternoon and it came up with $318.
Right, so that, the sales tax part is not exempt.
No, you have to pay the sales tax.
Okay. All right,
I would move for approval.
I'll second it.
so I have a motion and a second to approve the vehicle exemption, for Mr. McClure, as presented by Heather. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
All right, motion's carried. The next item is discuss and consider action regarding 2026 permissive exemptions. We have a list of those, and then there was another one that was, the Zion Evangelical Church that, needed to be part of this. And so we have the information that was provided by, Heather. I guess this list is your list, or is this?
That's my list.
Oh, that
Yeah.
comes from Robert, actually.
Yeah, the permissive exemption is totally different than a vehicle exemption.
Right.
Right, and I think, Jason said that, in my discussion with Jason on this one for the Zion Evangelical Church, it was actually part of an agenda that was sent to the Star Herald, I guess, but it didn't end up on this exact agenda
It
that
was
ended up here.
advertised.
Right. But, that's what I'm understanding, and Jason thought that we could take action on it as just simply being part of this, since the top of that sheet talks about a permissive exemption, I believe.
It falls under the category, and then it was specifically published in the paper as well, in terms of Zion.
Right.
So, separate from the permissive exemptions, and if you wanna include this, that's fine. Zion Evangelical Church has applied for tax exemption for, I believe it's their, bus that they use, for church activities. It's a 2015 Ford Transit van, and the total tax loss on this vehicle would just be $25.20.
And that particular vehicle's been approved before.
It's been approved, yeah, ever since
Many
they've had
times.
it, so it's just a renewal on something that's already out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Robert, I would ask you, I see, the first 3 items on our list here have been approved, and then, I see
Approved by my office,
right, those are.
seeking approval from the board tonight. And I can
Right.
explain the situation if you like.
But you're saying that they would, they're recommended to be approved because they meet the qualifications, is what
Correct.
you're saying?
Yes, sir.
On those first 3.
Yep.
And then I see the bottom 2 are the Assembly of God Church in Minnetonka, which obviously had been sold and is now, I see, part of the school system, but it's exempt anyway because it's a school.
Right, but I have to disapprove the exemption request.
Right.
Because it was filed.
Okay, oh, I see. And then the one, the Christian Ministries, that's really the only question that I have. I'm not sure, I'm not familiar with that group. And
So,
that-
you want me to speak on that one right now?
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Yeah, so on Christian Ministries, I have the application, and I actually I'd like to pass around some photos of the property. For those of you who are familiar with the area, if you go down Beltline to the east to Sugar Factory Road, on the northwest corner, there's a little triangle of property there that has a lot of rock and debris and
That's
things of
Dave
that
Berger's
nature.
property.
And Christian Ministries, this was filed by, I don't know the gentleman, but his name is Dave Hergert. So he owns that property there on the corner and indicates that it's for a religious activities, for youth hiking and retreat area. If you look at the property, it is in no way able to be used for that. There's rock stored there, there's concrete stored there. It would be a hazard for anybody other than a construction person to go there. So I do not believe it meets the criteria, so my recommendation is the board decline this request.
Prior to yours, Mr. Hergert, would protest that on a yearly basis
Okay.
because of, it wasn't being used. I believe it was Hagham was the one that was crushing rock, and that doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
And I think there were some times that we gave him some relief on it because of the stuff that was underneath of it that was buried, and, you know, it's gonna be tough for anybody to do any building or anything on it. That's okay, I'll let the rest of it go. But now it's a recreational area for this church.
Retreat for hiking
see.
and, a retreat area and hiking for, charitable, or
I
for
think I would
religious.
tend to agree with your,
Yeah.
with that,
Yeah.
with your assessment on it.
I think
We
you're
won't
right,
go any
right.
further with it.
So you ready to?
So, yeah, is there any other discussion on any of the other items? So
We need a
he's-
motion to approve
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, so he's, recommending us to approve the top three plus the Zion Church, vehicle exemption, and then, but not approve the bottom three items on this list, is his recommendations.
I move to approve the permissive exemption for First United Methodist Church of Gearing, Scotts Bluff Investors, Community Christian Church, and Zion.
I'll second it, but I've got a question for you, Robert.
Okay.
On the Assembly of God in Minutair, you have here, it's still exempt as a school. Is that
Yes, so
correct?
what had been previously for a few years exempt as a religious organization.
So is
the
this,
religious
is this
org-
something on top of that, or?
So, no, what happens is they filed, the forms are due in December of the prior year, so they filed their forms as they should have on time, and then they subsequently sold it to the school. So I had to deny them the permissive exemption, but the school gets it, tax exempt anyway because they're a taxing authority.
So nobody's losing any money on it?
Not at
just
all.
a matter
It's
of
just
the
a
name on it. I
formality
gotcha.
to decline
Okay.
this request.
My second still stands.
So my understanding of the motion is that we would approve those top three items, and the Zion Evangelical, vehicle, and, agree with the denying of the bottom three items on our list. That's the way I understand the motion. And we have a motion and we have a second as well. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Okay, motion's carried. All right, very good, thank you.
Mr. Harris, I have those for you to sign as well.
All right, if you
just
wanna
pass them
pass them
over.
down here, yeah, then I'll try and get them
There's
signed
6
and
of them.
lay them up here,
Yep.
okay. All right, the next item is discuss and consider the 2026 over-under report. Let's see, Robert, is that yours?
It is.
Okay.
So.
Did you wanna discuss it?
Yeah, I'll tee it up here. Most of you know that on an annual basis, anytime we want to change, the assessor's office needs to change a value after setting values in March, it requires an over-under report, and that can be done clear up until, June 1st. And typically what happens, you know, you get one of these each year. Typically what happens on any properties that requires a split of a parcel, that's usually 95% of these items. So if there's a piece of property in town and it gets split, or even in the country, the values, the total value over all of that property is going to change in a lot of cases. Because if you're in town, you may be splitting off part of a lot, and as you know, we have a tiered methodology for lots. So the first 5,000 is a certain dollar amount, next, 7,000 square feet is a different value. So this is a way for us to be able to make those changes, so we can send the tax bills out to the appropriate people, clear up until May 20th, because the change of notice values that we send out that are gonna go out on May 29th are as of May 20th. So we get as many of these done on this over-under that we can, and then anything after these, as far as splits for the year, we handle those internally through future land and future values of the structures. And those get rolled in November. So this is something that you see each year. Usually it's $2, $3, $4 million. It's just below $2 million this year to the positive. Some of these will be negative because values went down. Some of them went up. So anyway, I would ask the board approve this. With getting that approval, the change of valuation notices that go out on May 29th will be correct for all those sales between March 19th and now.
And this is that, we've done this virtually every year.
You do it every year. Yep.
I move for approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the over and under report presented by the assessor. Any other discussion?
I do have one question. On these, like you have 25, 26, you don't have anything in those.
Right, there was no value, on the one you're talking about, there was no value in 2025, no value in 2026, and then the value now. So that's more than likely a new parcel created from the split. Yeah,
That's what I couldn't quite get, was because
Yeah.
it had no value prior.
right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. The next item is discuss and consider letter to taxpayers from the commission.
So everyone should have received this in their packet. It's a 3-page letter. Each year, the commissioners have a letter to taxpayers that we do a couple of things with. One, we get it posted to our website prior to June 1st, which is the start of protests. So once I get approval, I'll get this posted. The other thing we do with it at the time of protesters or taxpayers are protesting their valuation, we hand a copy of this to them as well, so they see it a couple of different times. So what I did,
online, right?
basically the board had approved last year's, and I basically updated the dates, updated the approximate valuation for the county, and I think maybe there was one grammatical error that I changed, so it's essentially the same document as last year. So, it would be nice if you were able to approve this tonight. If not, if you delayed it to the 1st, I think that would be okay. But it would be out there a little bit longer if we got it approved tonight. Or some version thereof if you want me to make changes to it.
Robert, the only thing I'm gonna ask again, I don't know whether, and maybe I can get some support here. I think we talked about it last year, is about a market analysis by a licensed realtor. And I forgot what your reason for not wanting to do that was for.
Yeah. I'm an ex-mortgage guy, so, basically when lenders look at properties for lending money, they're gonna look at only at a certified appraisal that's less than 6 months old. And if you recall, my initial position was, hey, if you get an appraisal and it's more than 6 months old, but I did finally back up and say, okay, a year, I think that's reasonable. It's a little bit less stringent than what a lender would use on like a conventional loan. So I think, and the reason that banks really look at values, appraisal windows only to 6 months is because the market changes rapidly, both up and down. It can change significantly. So if you're looking at an aged document, it could be, less than accurate. And I always take the position of the certified appraisal because that's what lenders require. They will not take a BPO or a broker's price opinion or a few different names for it. So that's been my position.
Well, and I'll say it again, back in, I think it was 2017, the legislature authorized that to be part of the tools that we use as a board of equalization in making our determination. And I'm thinking more of the protester, rather than spend $300 or $400 or $500, whatever the fee is for an appraisal, that they could get a, market analysis done by a licensed realtor. And those are, I only say that because I've done a lot of it, but there's a lot of work and research that goes into them.
Right.
Similar to what an appraisal is, and no, it's not an appraisal, but they're not spending, $500 to do it. And you're only accepting them for a year anyway, so it doesn't matter. I would like to see that extended, but I don't think we'll get it done. But, and
Yeah, I mean,
I
that's the
understand,
board's decision.
and I understand your position on it, where property values do change. We went through a period where they changed dramatically just in 1 year. And I can understand that, I can understand that. But in so many times you have a protester that comes in who doesn't have the ability possibly, or the knowledge to go out and find the comparables that they're looking for. And we end up doing it a lot for them. But if they know that they can contact a realtor and have a realtor do that for them, that's gonna save them some money, plus give us, I think, some pretty accurate information. That's my opinion, Robert, that's all I'm
Yeah,
asking.
no, I hear you. I disagree, but that's okay that we disagree.
Yeah, that's fine. But
Ultimately, the board has to decide,
And
I don't get a vote.
And I was just gonna say that, because, we are the ones who kinda make the decision on it. It is our protest, and I would like to see that in this letter. But that's my opinion, I'm only one vote, I'm guessing I'm not gonna get 3 other ones, so.
So I might be sure that I understand that exactly, and that's that, this is generally 3 items may be considered by the board, and one of them being the appraisal, not more than a year old. And, so, I understand that, and we've generally considered that. Again, I think it is appropriate not to be saying here that that'll be absolutely accepted no matter what, because there have been rare occasion where we haven't fully accepted
We
that
haven't
appraisal.
accepted appraisals once in a while.
Yeah, on rare occasion.
I fully understand
And
that, yeah.
And then it says, of course, proof of a recent sale. And generally, but not always, do we accept that, but generally speaking, we normally have that if it's an arm's length transaction that we've, and I think the key sentence up here is where it says number 12, it says, there are generally 3 items that may be considered by the board, may be considered. I think that's still the important part of this. Doesn't mean that we're not saying that if you have those there, it's absolutely gonna be, voted that way, but it very well could be if it was those 2 things. And then comparison to similar properties, which we ask them to compare it to something in their neighborhood or that type of thing, that would give us something to compare to. Now, I do agree with Ken to the extent that, a comparison, in my opinion, would certainly be and could include a, help me with the word
Market
again.
analysis?
Market analysis, it could include that, but it wouldn't have, at least in my opinion, certainly in your opinion, wouldn't have the same weight as a full-blown appraisal would have from a licensed appraiser. But, I certainly believe that if they have a market analysis from a realtor, that they should include that. And the key here in all of this is they should be including whatever information they want us to consider in when they file.
Their argument. And I
Alright,
think
they shouldn't be simply bringing it that day.
Right.
They should
Need
be
it in
including it
advance.
in this.
Yep.
And I think that it certainly would be, in my opinion, some of the comparable information that would certainly be, in my opinion, part of number C, but that doesn't mention it specifically, but a comparison to similar properties. And to me, it would,
And I think I would
Fall.
agree with you, Mark, and even Ken, but when it comes to an assessor's office, I can tell you in the last 2.5 years, given what we've said here, that we will look at it, we will consider an appraisal that's good within 1 year. I can honestly say that I've only had one appraisal out of 2.5 years that I said, absolutely no, I will not accept this as an assessor.
right,
Now, board is different because you are, the board of equalization. But from accepting that as a value of a property, I would never accept a market analysis. Now, if the board wants to look at that and all, as evidence or whatnot for the hearing, that's totally up to you guys.
well, I would only say that a market analysis by a realtor, in my opinion, would probably be, at a little higher level than simply a, layperson doing a comparable, on their own.
Right.
So I would certainly agree to that.
My
well-
concern on having a realtor do it, and no offense, Ken, this is no offense, but
You can't offend me anymore. Trust me,
There's
I'm
the-
pretty much booked
Offended out.
no,
No
I
offense.
think that the intent or intentions of the broker or the real estate person is different than a certified appraiser. They're trying to get a listing, they're trying to get future business. The appraiser is just one and done, and they get it after the fact, usually after the sale is, at least there's an offer. But, so I would just say that, from an intent perspective, I think they expect two different outcomes. And I would be, in my role, I would be very weary of that, so.
Well, I've seen appraisals. I've seen appraisals that a market analysis was, a whole bunch more work was done on the market analysis than what the appraisal was done. I'll tell you that much. And as far as a realtor doing it so that they can get the listing, could be, I don't know.
Yeah.
Normally it's not. The ones that I have been somebody that, maybe an old customer or somebody that needs that work and we do it. I haven't done it since I've been a commissioner. That's kind of a conflict of interest that I certainly wouldn't wanna do. But now they've got the certified appraisal, they have the sale for 1 year, and then comparisons. And I'm thinking, we give them a good solid third option to bring to us to look at, rather than us sit here for 10 minutes or however long it takes to looking at different properties and go, well, let's just split the difference on this one and,
You're right on that part, but the
Yeah.
problem I see is, a lot of times they don't let the assessor in to walk through the house, look at the basement, they don't let them in the garage, they don't let them look at anything. And then they wanna bring a market analysis that said somebody did go and look at it, but these guys have never seen it. I'd like to see on our sheet that the assessors looked at everything before they complain, that's too high.
But
A
if-
lot of
but-
times they don't let people in.
but if somebody did go into the house, or they knew the house, and they did a good comparable on it,
As long as the assessors had the same opportunity to,
well,
cause that would
maybe
make.
they did, maybe they didn't.
Well, I'm
Somebody
just saying,
did.
but somebody has to make it, in order for it to be apples to apples, the assessor's office needs to look
Evidently,
at.
the legislature thought it was okay.
It is,
They
I'm sure it is.
passed it in 2017. This was a tool that could be used in your Board of Equalization. Why we're not accepting it, I don't know, but that's my request. I would like to see that included in the letter. The rest of it looks fine. I have no problem with any of it. But rather than either sell the property or get an appraisal,
Then you know exactly what.
Yeah, and just to make it clear, just make sure there's a distinction. From my perspective, I have an arrangement with the board that if I have a certified appraisal for 1 year, I'll accept it. If I have a valid sale, and I mean a valid sale, not from father to daughter and stuff like that, valid sale, I'll take that for up to 1 year. So that's an almost assured thing. I mean, I've only had one that I didn't agree to in 2.5 years. But when it comes to the broker's price opinions or whatever you wanna call it. The board wants to consider that and allow people to bring that in, that's totally fine with me. I'm just telling you, that doesn't hold any water with me. So, there is a difference, they can provide evidence to the board.
And from a technical standpoint, and again, that number 12 says we may consider the
Comparisons.
appraisal.
Yeah.
We may consider comparisons. We may consider the appraisal. We may consider the second item.
Yeah, so I
The
think
sale.
that the way it's worded, if people wanna bring in a broker's price opinion, they're perfectly welcome to do that.
Right.
But from my perspective, it doesn't hold water.
So what you're
But-
saying, Mark, is that the market analysis would, according to the verbiage here, would be the,
It would fall into the number C.
Yeah,
item.
right.
Because it's part of a comparison process, in my opinion, and that, but Robert, what you are saying here, I think, is that if someone is coming to protest and you know, or they tell you, and or somehow you can observe the fact of whether or not they had a sale in the last 12 months, that you would take that, and would I then also understand that you would change that before it even comes to the commissioners?
Right, so in case of an appraisal that's good within 1 year, that's acceptable, or sale within 1 year that's acceptable, we would write that up. They still have to file the form to protest,
Okay,
but that would be a no hearing needed. So that, what that means is that I agreed with a value different than we certified in March, and so did the taxpayer. And really, it comes before the board and says, hey, we've agreed on this number.
right.
Would you approve it or not?
So no hearing needed in those two instances?
That's right, they still have to file the form, but no hearing is required.
Just to remind everybody that we used to go 2 years on a sale, and, I mean, the length it was at. Now we're down to 1 year. So even if somebody does bring us something, and we give you a number that you don't accept, they're still going to have to come back the following year.
Yeah,
Whether you accept
that's
it or
right.
whether they don't.
That's
If it's
right.
an appraisal, if it's a sale, they're still gonna have to file another protest.
If it's something that
Correct.
my office agreed to on sale within a year, or an appraisal within a year, and we agreed to it, that's the new base amount, so.
Right.
That, doesn't include any future increases, years
Yeah.
increases.
So
But
Chad,
that'd
I
be
mean-
their new base, they don't have to come back at that point.
Yeah, but they're, depending on what it is, they probably are going to come back in that next year to protest on whatever number that we decide,
It could be,
So
it could happen.
If the board
Sure.
decides.
whatever the board decides.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm asking is for language in here that they have that choice. And I don't know that everybody understands and knows that they have that option to use. But that's, again,
I don't know that this is the document that you wanna put that in, but I don't know.
well, you're talking about appraisal, you're talking about a sale, and the third one would be a.
Comparisons.
a-
So I think it already allows for that.
It allows
You got your
for it without
comparable.
listing it
Okay,
specifically.
Right.
And that's okay, but how many times do people sit out here and they don't have any idea of where to get one or whatever? Some do, most of them do, a lot of them do. I'm just saying we give them a third option, that they can contact somebody who does this for a living and say, please give me some comparables that I
Yeah.
can take to my protest.
We've never advised anyone to not do that, by any means. I believe in the last couple of years, we've had people bring in some, broker's price opinions, or whatever you wanna call them. But they did themselves, they went out and hired the realtor to put one of those together for them, so. I'm not against the taxpayer using that as a tool to be able to talk to the board, for board to make their decision. I'm just saying if they bring it to me, it holds no weight for all the reasons that I've just said.
But it could with us.
It
because
could.
Which
It
is
could.
where it's gonna end
It could,
anyway.
yeah.
So I guess I don't have a problem with letting them know that that's a third option for them. Besides an appraisal, besides selling
So
their house or whatever the case
would you
might
like
be.
to offer some different language for that 12C?
Well, even if you said something as simple, comparables
Comparisons
or,
such as-
or a,
such as market analysis.
market analysis by a licensed realtor. That's all you'd have to add. And if the rest of the board doesn't agree, I'm fine with that, cause if somebody brings it in, I'm gonna look at
We
it.
still have
anyway.
final say, so, it's fine.
Yeah.
You heard the thing.
Are we okay with that?
I don't have a problem
Comparison,
with it. I mean, it gives them an option, just like I said, where people aren't able to do their comparables. And I see Ken's point, it's great, if they can come up with some comparables that we can get our hands around, we're good.
Still up to
Right.
the board to determine whether or not we consider that to be
That's correct.
legitimate.
Yeah.
So I think,
And-
Ken, if I'm understanding you,
Are
part
you okay with that, Robert?
12C.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay.
Comparison, comma, such as a market analysis conducted by a realtor, comma,
Yeah,
two similar properties.
cause how many times have we looked at comparables that the protester brought in, and they're not anywhere close
Yeah.
to the property that the
So,
protester.
so,
Not even,
And
They're
all of this
they're
should be,
all over the place.
all of this should be submitted at the time of their protest.
that's right,
And that's, we haven't always got that very well.
yeah.
And then one other comment I wanna make, and that's, we talked about the sale, go ahead.
Just, at the time of filing the protest isn't necessarily fair because they are being told when they come to fill out the form that this is what they need to do.
Well,
I mean, you've gotta give them some time to be there before our hearings
yeah,
begin.
they're not getting this.
It's on their valuation notice that goes out beforehand. It's on our webpage, which is
This whole
beforehand.
letter is on your valuation notice?
No, but
That's
the
what I'm saying.
language that tells them that is in the valuation notice.
So they wouldn't
Yeah.
receive this unless they filed for a protest, correct?
Or went to the website
Or went to the website.
and looked at
Which
the protest section.
we're hoping they would do that. Whether they do or not, nobody really knows.
well, when they file for protest.
So they,
Yeah, and they will.
but the time to receive that information isn't the day they show up here
That's
for
right.
protest.
Because it's
That's
not,
That's
pretty
for
clear.
sure.
That's a different point.
Agree with that.
so what I wrote, and maybe, and you guys correct me if this is wrong, but I wrote down on C, comparison to similar properties or market analysis by licensed real estate agent.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes.
Thank-
Okay,
And I
Thank you.
think that that's-
yeah.
that'll help him.
No, I'm
Not
perfectly
just
fine.
me.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know.
I just wanted to make a
You're the one that's
distinction
bringing
that
it up.
I'm not gonna
Well,
accept
I
that.
know that
I'm-
he's
I'm
been
look- I'm
fighting
look-
for it for quite a while.
I understand that, but I'm looking for some relief for our protesters.
All right, and I think letting them know that that information will at least be considered, and that's what this says.
Yeah,
I think that's fair. One of the things then that, would it be fair to say that some of these people are gonna be possibly seeing this for the first time when they file? Would that be a legitimate thing to say?
yes,
Okay.
unless they went to our website, cause
And
I,
the only other thing that I might recommend is something, maybe the very last, number 19 or something, that might say something like, it was preferred that you brought in these items under 12, or maybe we say it under 12, but it was preferred to get this information when you filed, but you must bring them back into the assessor's office or whoever's office that we need to say, no later than such and such a date.
Just the way it works between us, they file the protest, and if they have their documentation with it, the documentation goes to the assessor's office, and I simply keep the actual protest form, so that we can
Just the
schedule
form.
hearings.
So there's no real reason for them to bring it to you, but they could go directly.
But
to
they're
Rob.
welcome to, I want you to know, I still get it to the assessor's office.
They're welcome to, in, what I'm seeing is, if they bring it in when they file the protest, then it should go to you.
But if they're
they
following
bring
up,
it later, it should probably go to Robert.
if that's okay with Robert,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Sounds very end when I've read this in entirety from signing it.
But I think my only point is, if when they come and file, they've never seen this form, and it's the first day of them getting it, I think that maybe we should say, you must have this information into, I'm gonna say the assessor's office, no later than such and such a date. Meaning that if they only got it when they filed, then we should give them
Yeah.
a 2 weeks or 10 days or a specific date on the calendar, however we wanna do it, but.
in as D.
I think that the place to put that would be 12D,
Yeah.
because that's
12D.
your,
Yeah, I agree with that.
that maybe we should say that so that there's absolutely there's no reason why they couldn't have it to us ahead of time. Now, I know, no matter what you put here, no matter how hard you try, we're gonna get some that don't
Yeah,
bring it
they're
until
not
the day
gonna-
of protest.
Yeah,
And
right.
that's kinda the way we used to do it quite a bit.
And I'll be honest, I think last year was as bad as I've ever seen it, with nobody, with folks showing up here with no comparables or whatever.
Right.
There seemed to be a lot of them that didn't have anything to go by, and we were doing it ourselves.
Kinda doing it on the fly
We
on
were doing
some
it
of
on the
them.
fly for them, and that might eliminate that possibly.
Well,
And the board does, it's not the board's responsibility to do their due diligence. It's not your responsibility to find comparables. And
No,
I've said
no,
that
no,
over
no.
and over, and the regs are very clear on that.
right,
It's not your responsibility to spend
they
time.
have to present
They have to present their case
their
to the
case,
board.
right.
That's right.
One other thing I wanna mention, and that's, Ken mentioned something about, it used to be that, if someone brought in a sale or an appraisal, that it was good for 2 years. Well, I'll only say nothing's good for 2 years.
Yeah.
The assessor
time
has
ago.
the authority to change that number every year as he sees fit. And the only 2-year guarantee would have been from this group, and it wouldn't have been from the assessor, and even this group can change that the next year. There is no 2-year guarantee of anything, and maybe that's the way it was presented before, but that's not reality. I mean, we have the authority to change that every year. The assessor has, and we always say, this is only good for 1 year. Yes,
Back
Miss-
in my working in the assessor's office for Amy days, what it was the Board of Equalization during protests were going to honor those 18 to 24 months prior. And that is why it was included in the letter, is because it was the letter from you folks.
Right,
So that Amy knew you guys were going to accept it, so she would make it a no hearing needed.
she just, yeah.
But
and-
this is
and
your
Robert's
letter.
kinda doing the same thing.
I'm doing the
for us.
same thing for 1 year.
Right.
Because I think 1
But
year
I'm
is
telling you
as
where
far
it
as we
came
can go.
from, that's why.
Right.
The letter was from you, direction came from you, how this letter should read, which is what he's trying to get from you right now.
And so Ken, when you said 2 years, you're talking about 2 years prior. And my mind's thinking that we were kinda, if they had the sale last month when they come to see us, that's gonna be good for 2 years. And we certainly can't guarantee them that. There is no
Yeah.
guarantee of that.
But that's what was always included in the letter, and that was, I guess, the standard that we all followed. And appraisals, I
Right.
think, were 2 years also, but I'd have to go back and find one of those old letters. But I think appraisals were held up for 2 years, and recent sales were held up for 2 years, if I remember right, but,
And now we're saying 1.
yeah.
And I'm,
And I'm not disagreeing with that, Robert.
Yeah.
I mean, and the real estate market has changed considerably over the last 5 years, or maybe even less. And I'm all right with that. That's not a problem.
so Robert, then what I'm hearing is that we're willing to, have you put in the language as suggested for the,
For C?
realtors,
Yep.
information, and then, I'm only suggesting, and if there's a way to say, this information must be here no later than such and such a date, or from the time they file.
Yeah.
If that's the first time they're seeing it, I'm just saying that I think they ought to get a 10-day period to get it turned in, or something like that. Obviously, no later than,
Well, the reality is, even if they come to the hearing with it,
We're gonna look at
you're
it.
gonna look at
Yeah,
it,
that's-
right? So.
we're not gonna
And
say.
I'm not, I'm not saying we should do that. I would just say if they don't have it, they have to have it to us by June 30th. Okay? Because if, that's the whole window for filing a
Filing.
protest.
Right.
Granted, we may start a little sooner like we did last year around the 15th, but I don't personally wanna be able to track every protest for 10 days for this person from this date, and
Right.
that becomes, I would just say June 30th.
the bottom line is that we give you a number that we agree upon with that protester. You either accept it or you don't accept it.
Yeah.
If you don't accept it, it doesn't go into your system, and they're gonna be back the following year.
Yeah.
So, that's, you know,
Could be.
it's your call. But by the time it gets to you, yeah, this looks good, I'm gonna put it in, I don't agree with it, so I'm not gonna put it in because I don't think it's right. Then they're gonna be back the following year.
Yeah.
That's it, and I don't mean to say that's the game, but that's how it works,
Yeah.
that's how it flies.
But any documentation that a taxpayer provides for protest will be scanned, will be presented to the board. I do not make a selection to say, I'm not gonna submit supporting documentation to the board. You will always get everything that we
That
get
they
in the
submit.
assessor's
Yeah.
office. Right.
But whether it ends up in your system is still your decision.
Well, I have to have it for
Yeah.
me to scan it, right? So if they don't submit the documentation timely, and they come to the meeting with their documentation, can't avoid that.
Yeah, then you won't have it in
Then I
your
won't have it in my system.
digital system, right.
Yeah, you know, we may accept a 2-year sale, or we may accept a 2-year appraisal. That doesn't necessarily mean that meets your criteria to do what needs to be
That's
done.
right.
We understand that.
Yep.
I think so.
All right,
So do you make a D and put in there no later than June 30th on the support
that'd be fine.
documentation?
I think
Beautiful.
that would be acceptable.
Filing deadline to consider documentation no later than June 30th.
Right.
That'd be part D.
Right.
Yeah, probably
right.
most of the people who are protesting were protesting last year, so they've actually seen it, but
So-
We have a lot of
repeat customers.
repeat customers.
So I think you got two specific things, if you could add those
Yep.
two items. Do we need to give you a motion to that effect?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Does anyone wanna offer a motion towards that?
I move to approve this, letter for property valuation protest with, changes to 12C with the market analysis and 12D, the filing deadline for consideration, or to consider documentation.
I'll second that and thank you for taking it into consideration.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Okay, motion's carried. Thank you for your input on that. Okay, thanks, Robert. Okay. The next item is to receive the tax list corrections. We were given that in our packet. There's 2 items. These are the more routine items, I think. Any questions or discussion on these?
I'd move for approval.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve these. Is there a second?
Second that.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the tax list corrections. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. All right, that's the last item under Board of Equalization. If we could have a motion to go out of Board of Equalization.
I move to go out of Board of Equalization.
Or second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to go out of the Board of Equalization. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. All right, the next, item is the general agenda items. And, with that is to discuss and consider approval of the Monument Marathon. I got 2 more here, but I don't know where to sign them. So if you wanna show me. Consider approval of the Monument Marathon resolution. Mr. Holyoke, you're still on, huh?
Thank you. You have before you a resolution, which is the annual process that the marathon has to go through in connection with the State of Nebraska Department of Roads. This year will be the 15th running of the marathon. There is one difference in what is before you, and that would be the beginning time of the closure of 71. I think what you have before you says 7:15. It would need to be 6:45 because the full marathon is going to start at 7 o'clock instead of 7:30.
Where's that at, Tom?
It's in the paragraph one at the
Ours
in the
says-
fourth line.
Oh, yeah, I see it further down.
And then the second change is the 7:45 in the third line from the bottom, which should be 7:15.
Now, ours says 5 AM on the third line down.
That is the process of when the coning will begin.
Okay,
That blocks off the
oh,
eastbound lane.
yeah,
or
I
the-
see, it says 7:15, and you want that to be 6:45, you said,
Yes, sir.
that first one? Okay,
And the 7:45 to 7:15.
okay. And this is a standard resolution that we've passed otherwise?
Yes, sir, it is.
And of course, it talks about the certificate of insurance and,
Which we have submitted.
additional insured that we are listed. And Jason, you've maybe seen this last year, and you're okay with all of this?
I am. I mean, the thing that will sometimes be brought up is, paragraph 4, those duties, but that's right out of the statute. If we're requesting that, certain things be closed off, then the county is accepting, that indemnification provision, but that's right out of the state statute.
Sheriff, did you have something to say? Come on up if you do.
Well,
I'm just here because I've been to all of the, Sheriff Mark Overman, been to all of these, and, I would just ask, I would just tell you there's not been any problems. And they have a safety committee that meets regularly and meets every year to sharpen things up. So, from the sheriff's point of view, we have no reservations about this at all. We ask you to approve it.
Okay, very good. So, my understanding is that, again, it's this information and this resolution with the change of, on paragraph number 1, on the fourth line, over towards the right, where it says 7:15, that needs to be changed to 6:45. And then the third, basically the third line up from the bottom, where it says road starting at 7:45 AM, that needs to be changed to 7:15.
Yes, sir.
All right, so with those changes,
Still ending at the same times.
Yes.
Okay.
okay? All right, any discussion from anyone else tonight?
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
Generally on a certificate of insurance, you'd have a hold harmless for the county. I see we have a hold harmless for the state. But we don't, the county's holding the state harmless. But when you provide insurance, generally you have a hold harmless that holds the county harmless, right? Isn't that what we had in the past?
Yes, but this is the same coverage that is,
But I don't see in here where you're holding the county harmless. The county's holding the state harmless, but we're not holding the county harmless here on this. But I'm not seeing it anyway. It seemed like in the past, we asked for that and you gave that to us.
I will check on that, and I'll have to get back to you on that, because I don't know, at this juncture.
I know we had discussed that in the past, and I know we'd had that before, but right now, we got the county holding the state harmless. There's nothing protecting the county. We have an insurance policy that doesn't say it holds the county harmless, and that's what it should say.
was it because we basically took control of that section of highway?
Well, which still at the same time, we're not the ones on the highway, these folks are on the highway.
no,
And they provided us a certificate of insurance for $4 million, and in that, it should have a hold harmless agreement that they're holding us harmless, cause
I don't
we've
know.
stepped up and held them harmless with the state.
But correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, we have basically taken over that stretch of highway from the state.
And that's not the
Which-
question, that's true,
Yeah.
that part is exactly right, Ken. But that's not what my question, my question is, when you buy a certificate of insurance, generally, you have a hold harmless agreement with that certificate of insurance. The certificate isn't really worth a lot unless you're gonna hold somebody harmless and utilize that certificate. It doesn't name anybody who you're holding harmless here.
Well, the purpose of the coverage is to hold the county harmless. He doesn't, that's what the policy is.
It is, but it
It's
doesn't
ensuring
state, it's insurance.
for
But-
the benefit of the county.
But if it's not giving it direction, it opens up a lot of questions if you have to go to court for anything. It's gonna open up, like the one we have in here right now, if you read item number 4, it pretty much defines that the county's holding the state harmless. And we have enough insurance to
Clearly
hold
it
the state.
is.
And we have enough insurance to hold the state harmless. But you purchased a separate policy, but you're not identifying with that policy who you're holding harmless in that. It says you bought a policy for the county, but it doesn't say that you're holding us harmless in this.
Are you referring to this?
I got a college degree in reading these things when I got sued down in Wyoming
Page 4
back
on
in
the second page.
2007.
Yeah. Are you referring to are you referring to the blanket additional insured? Russ?
No.
Cause in there it gets pretty specific, I think.
Okay.
Maybe I'm not
Okay.
I'm the attorney here, but.
Well, the purpose of the, providing the county with the insurance is to hold the county
county
harmless in the event of a claim.
Yeah, the bottom of the first page, it lists the certificate holder as Scotts Bluff County, so we're covered.
Right, and then on this page, it says, the certificate holder is an additional insured per the following endorsement, blanket additional insured. So that means that,
We should be the first insured, shouldn't we? Additional, we should be, where the policy was bought for the county, we should be the first insured, not additional. Am I wrong on that?
It's my understanding that the county is the insured.
That's the way I get it. Not the additional, it should be the insured, not additional insured.
So this is NERMA insurance we're talking about, correct?
No, this
No.
is,
No.
no, this is from agency, it's Inglewood Partners Insurance.
Separate policy. Okay. Wouldn't we normally do a certificate of insurance and additional insured through NERMA?
They bought separate insurance.
They bought-
Can we use
they're
microphones?
buying it for,
Our
Microphones,
insurance
please.
covers the state. But
Yeah.
our NERMA insurance will cover state, that's the,
be sure we're talking into the microphones well. So, I guess the question, Jason, is for you. You're the one that, should be able to tell us whether or not you feel that we are protected under this. I believe this is the same format. I don't believe it's any different than what we've looked at before.
That's correct.
And, I think it's all the same as that. Certainly, my interest is that we're protected, but I guess I'm asking you, Jason, if you feel that we're protected, at least as well as we have been in the past,
That's
and
all we're
then
asking.
first, and then second, if we think that we need something more than that, possibly in the future, then maybe we should consider that question, but,
we haven't had any problem, nothing's went wrong, everything's been good, it's all sailed right through, so.
right, we've been fortunate that there's been no accidents and things like that. And I think as the sheriff said, they try and guard against those things best possible.
Yeah, I think historically, the issue that's come up is that, in the resolution, paragraph 4 sets out what Scotts Bluff's duties are, and that's taken right out of the statute. When the county is, taking on these responsibilities, then the statute says that we have to indemnify, defend, and hold harmless the state. And then,
And then we should
to
have
account
this-
for that, Marathon has got, the certificate of insurance. I suppose, Russ, to take up your issue, you could ask that this be referenced in the resolution, but I mean, I think with your certificate of insurance,
As long as you feel we're covered, we can move right along. Okay. I mean, if you have doubt, then I would like to have it corrected before we move on.
It looks like in terms of the certificate holder being the county is how it's been done historically.
I was just gonna bring that up, I just saw that, so.
Well, I don't have a problem with approving it as it is based upon the fact that I think it's the same as what we've done before. But I guess for future's sake, Jason, if you think that something needs to go further than this in the future, that, that you can let Tom's office know.
I think we discussed this
We have.
The last
year,
time.
the year before.
I think the year before, I think last year they had it all included. I remember seeing the whole harmless.
I don't recall, but I think that we had this discussion. Well, I would move that we approve the resolution for this year, and have Jason, take a look at it to see if there's any changes that need to be made.
I'll
That
second
include-
that.
That includes those time changes as he proposed.
Yeah, right.
And I'll second that.
Okay,
You said you feel we're covered. All right, Jason.
alright, so we have a
Well,
motion and
I think with that motion, I mean, I can take a look additionally at the certificate of insurance and see if there's anything else that the board would like me to do.
I guess you can report back to us if you need to, and Tom,
Actually, I
I guess
think-
just so we understand that.
Talking about it, I think we had,
He added something to
well, we
last.
had Dave Eubanks had looked at it 2 years ago. 'Cause we
But they had
concern-
added something to it for a
Did
hold
they? I
harmless.
don't-
They added
I don't
some sort of
remember.
hold harmless. I remember that.
I remember having a conversation.
I don't see it again. It's kinda slipped by us again. So.
Yeah.
So what I'm understanding here is Jason's gonna review it further. If he finds something that he would like for us to address, we're gonna bring it back to you,
That's fine.
even for this year. And you're saying that's okay.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so,
Okay.
so based on that,
We're gonna approve it.
we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Alright, motion's carried.
Just for the record, the marathon and the College Foundation, just couldn't do this project and have this event without the cooperation of the county, and which has just been absolutely perfect during the whole history, and especially through Sheriff Overman's office in the roads department. It's just stuff we cannot replace. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, it's a great event, and we appreciate
Absolutely.
the whole thing.
And I'm not gonna be able to make it again, Tom. Sorry,
Otherwise-
otherwise it's.
You'd be
Go ahead.
there.
Are
Kelly.
we getting signatures on this, or am I gathering them for you with the time changes later?
I can get the resolution corrected and get it back to you.
Like I could bring it before them on June 1st for signatures, does that work for you?
Sure, that's fine.
Does that work for the board? I mean, you've
Sure.
approved it, just,
Yeah, no
Do the signatures.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do the signatures,
thank you.
I guess, anytime, yeah.
I want to just say that I've been involved with this for the last 15 years doing traffic control for Gearing PD, and it's a really excellent run marathon. A lot of compliments from the runners, and it's very, very safe. Cooperation from all the first responders, EMS, college, and county roads, and the highway department. It's just excellent. It's just a well-run event. So.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so that lets us go to the back page. And, we have removed the, University of Nebraska item, off of the agenda, per their request. And so then, what I am going to do is, Miss Cindy, we're gonna take a break. So we're gonna take an 8-minute break, which would get us back here at 6:14. Okay, the meeting will come back to order. On our agenda, or the second item down on the back page, it's discuss and consider approval to hire 2 dispatchers due to openings that are included in the communications budget. Cindy?
Yes. I still have 2 openings,
Okay.
and, I would like to go ahead and post for those 2 positions. They are in my budget. I'm under budget, so there shouldn't be a problem with filling those 2 positions. If we open the application process now, I cannot actually start them until in July.
Okay. Is that because of the budget, or is that
That's because I don't have anybody to train them until
then?
the way the timeline falls.
I see.
It would be mid-July before we could, actually start them to work. But I need to go ahead and
Need to
get
get
the
started.
applications open so that we can do that.
You're replacing, dispatchers that you already have, is that what that were in place?
Yes, they were already in place.
So
They
you're
were
just
budgeted for this year. It's just filling an empty spot that we
Not a
had, 2
problem.
empty spots.
Cindy, are we still using those not roving, that's not the word I'm looking for,
Traveling, no,
the traveling ones?
no, they've
Okay.
been gone since September of last year.
I have no issues from an accounting perspective.
All right, it sounds like it meets our criteria that we were talking about. All right,
I would move for approval to hire the 2 dispatchers that she's requesting.
I'll second that.
a motion and a second to, approve hiring 2 dispatchers for the communications. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. Go to the next item, discuss and consider approval of purchasing Critical Insights AI software. Cindy?
Okay, I'm requesting to purchase an AI-powered quality assurance, quality improvement software. You do have some information on it in your packet, along with a quote that I received from Critical Insight. Currently, we do quality assurance for EMS calls, and I have a supervisor that does that. She's in charge of that. She's not able, it's taking more hours per month than she is able to devote to that. So she came to me, she was falling behind and wanted to know if there was something else we could come up with. We trained up a couple of dispatchers to be able to help with that. The problem with that is they're having to do that on overtime hours. So between her doing 50 to 60 hours a month, just regular straight time in her role, and then those dispatchers doing that as overtime, they're doing an additional 20 to 25 hours in overtime. So then that's currently where we are. It takes about 80 hours per month for just the EMS quality assurance piece. In June, we are going to have to add fire, and then in September, we're gonna add law enforcement. That's gonna up the hours that's needed for quality assurance to almost 300 hours. So that is 2 full-time people, which I know we can't do. So I'm trying to look at ways that we can mitigate that. I reached out to 4 different companies. This was the better one, and price-wise. And being 3 months behind in the quality assurance piece of it means that we're not giving immediate feedback to dispatchers on what they're doing wrong. They are developing a habit that then we have to try to go and fix, a bad habit that we have to try to fix. It's going to provide us allow us to be able to do more immediate coaching, because the system will QA the call for us. It will do it immediately. We will actually have, so for really high acuity calls, we could go in and look at an evaluation of that call 1 minute after that call has been completed. The supervisor can review these calls and then turn around and give these back to the dispatchers and have them back out within a week instead of the 3-month backlog where we're at right now. That's just gonna continue to grow as we continue to add disciplines that we have to do the quality improvement for. This purchase can be, probably the most important piece is it can be paid for with Public Service Commission funds that we receive for the 911 surcharge. This would be just a 1-year agreement that we're entering into, and then it can be extended each year as we go if we want to continue to do this. And if we don't want to, then we just stop at any time whenever we're ready to stop it.
Is that surcharge part of your budget, Cindy?
It was not budgeted this year, but the funds are there to be able to do that with.
Is that a separate fund or is that part of your?
The 911 surcharge is budgeted to me every
To you,
year
okay.
by the state, by the
Okay.
Public Service
So
Commission.
that is part of your total
Yes.
tax asking, correct?
That's not tax asking at all.
No, okay.
No, it's a 911 surcharge, so whenever you pay your
Okay.
phone bill,
Yeah.
the surcharge that's on there.
I didn't ask it correctly.
Yeah, that's
It's-
okay.
it's
The
part-
the state collects that
Right.
and then distributes it back out
But
to
it's
us
still
based
part
on the
your
number of
budget then,
calls.
Your budget that you,
Yes,
yeah, gotcha.
yes.
And if we don't spend those funds, we have to turn it back in, right?
If we don't spend the funds that they give us every year, we do have to turn those back. Currently, my 2913 account, which is what that is paid out of, is at $34,774. So the quote that I have received for the first year, because they have set up fees and training for the admin and the end user both. So their original first year quote is $33,520. And then after that, it drops down. Each additional year is $21,600.
Okay.
Linda, what are you spending right now to do the same job? I mean, you're paying someone to do it right now, right?
I am paying someone to do it right now, and we're having overtime
Okay, what, do you have a rough idea what the cost is, what you're spending at the present time?
for the overtime.
No, for the present
Oh.
time of what you're spending, I mean, as we're doing right now, what is your yearly cost on that right now?
For the AI bundle,
No, for what it's costing to do it without the AI bundle. We're doing the same service in-house. I just wonder what additional money we're gonna need to be doing it this way.
Or what are we gonna save by doing?
Or
it this
save,
way?
one or the
Okay.
other,
Right,
yeah.
I think that's.
I can tell you that to do 300 hours worth of quality assurance per month, that is the salary of 2 dispatchers. One dispatcher is 65,000 with salary and benefits at the current rate that they're paid, and that's an intro rate. That's not, that's not the higher steps. That's the going in rate. Would be 65,000. So for 2 of those,
You're spending 300 hours a month
by September we will be, yes,
per month
per month.
just to log this stuff?
Yes.
They get a lot of calls, and they gotta sit there and go back and monitor all the, listen to them.
We have
keep them?
48,000 calls last year in 2025. We have to do 10% of those calls, which is 9,749 calls that we have to listen to, document, and then go back and do the coaching and the continuing education or the remedial training or whatever. So that's that's separate from just listening to the call. Did they ask the right questions? Did they follow protocol? Did they provide the correct instruction to the caller?
And who's requiring that again?
The company that we use, which is APCO, we use APCO protocols. They're a standards-based organization for dispatching public safety. And it is the APCO ANSI standard across the United States that you quality check 10% of your calls.
Is this a statute or is this a state requirement? Who's requiring this?
No one, the company that we use is the one that requires it. You all agreed that we would use
APCO.
APCO protocols, Association of Public
So this
Safety
isn't
Officials.
mandatory by the state? It's not a statute that we record all this stuff? I mean,
That
it's
you
all
quali-
recorded,
that
we
you
have it recorded,
quality
it's
check
totally
it. No.
recorded. It's recorded, right? I mean, all this stuff's recorded.
Everything is recorded, yes.
So, yeah, okay. So this is a requirement set up by the people you're using for this now, for this system.
To do the protocols, yes.
The APCO standards is, you said we adopted that, which I think I remember that, but but were those required by the state, so to speak? Those standards?
Dispatchers have to meet that standard, yes.
Okay.
And that's by state statute.
By state statute, and that's why we
think
have,
that's
that's
I
why
think
we
that's
are
the-
required to have
think
the
I got
training
that.
mandates
Right.
that they came out with in 2018.
Right.
All makes that a part of that.
Right, so I think that's the critical part of this. APCO is required, or something like APCO is required by the state.
Yes,
Okay, and then we chose APCO to be our supplier to help us meet those requirements.
yes,
And now, this will help us meet the APCO requirements, and it'll cost less if we use the AI generated ones.
yes.
Okay, that's what
And
we
we'll
need.
we get
So-
immediate feedback versus being behind
3 or
and.
4 months later.
So
Right.
how much are we paying APCO, and then what is that running, or what is that, our year, what's your cost on,
$4,000 a year.
that's all it is 4,000, but
And that won't change.
65,000 to do the work, then, after we do the work.
Times two. Yeah.
Cindy,
By September, it'll be times
By
2.
September, it will be up to that, yes.
that number that you gave us on the 911 account, is that for a 1 year, or is that something that's been building?
No, in July of last year, they sent a letter and committed to, it was 126,000, I believe, was what
So you've
was
been
what
just-
went into that fund,
So you've been taking money out of that
Yes.
fund for whatever?
yes.
And you anticipate having the funds available, I'm assuming we're talking about a $21,000 fee annually.
33,000.
No,
33 to begin for the first year.
first year.
Because it's set up and training and all of that is
Right.
included in that one-time fee of 13,000.
Right,
And then after that, it goes down to the 21,000
okay.
annually after that.
And again, that would be paid out of the 911 account.
It can be paid out of the 911 fund account. And if we have a year where those funds don't come available, then we can explore other options or do away with the software if
can
that's
get-
what we choose to do.
But we can get ahold of Public Service Commission, and they will pay part of this, you're thinking?
I have an email from them here stating that it is accepted for that fund.
Right.
Are we provided with that?
No, but
Okay.
I can get you a copy of it if you
No,
would like, or if you
I
just wanna see
think that
it.
that's fine, but
I didn't receive it until after I'd already given Kelly stuff for your packets.
I have a couple of questions whenever the time.
Go ahead.
Okay, so, one thing, just having negotiated lots and lots of technology, agreements over the years, you should push back really hard on the $13,000 setup fee.
Okay.
Most of these tech companies, if you push them hard and it's like, hey, this is a deal killer, they'll usually waive it.
Okay.
So I'd push really hard back on the initial setup fee. Now, they may come back and just may cut it in half, but it's at least something. They're used to dealing with negotiating on those setup fees.
Right.
The other thing is that, so, the funds will be coming from public service, that sounds great, actually. The thing is though, if we're currently spending 300 hours in overtime, we should see a reduction on your overtime equal to what you're saying it is.
But that's not what I'm spending right now on overtime. That's what it would be 300 hours to do this in September. Currently, my overtime is 20 to 25 hours. I'm limiting them, which is why we're going backwards and we're getting further and further behind. Because I'm not allowing them to have any more overtime than that to do this.
Okay. And the APCO, contract that you have, and maybe I heard this incorrectly, so I wanna make sure that I understand it. The state has no statutes on how many quality controls you review or what you do review, that this is a recommendation by your software company that obviously, is wanting you to get this type of software, is that correct? That there's no state statutes?
APCO's
that
not
over that?
software. APCO is the association that sets
But
the
they give you a
standards.
software, right? Or no? They don't give you any software?
They, yeah,
Yeah, right.
for the protocols.
Right.
And the
Right.
protocols are what are costing $4,000 a year.
Right.
I think that's all set out by the regulations that the Public Service Commission puts out on ESAPs and 911. So I think it's all regulatory.
Yeah. And
I
I'm a,
don't have it in front of me, but I know the Public Service Commission is what sets those regulations on what's,
Yes.
yeah, and I'm a fan of quality control, don't get me wrong. But I just wanna make sure that we're not doing more than we are required to or that is necessary. I think that's kind of, we need to distinguish between what we think's necessary and what is required by law, and I'm not hearing anything required by law. Unless I've missed it. Maybe I've missed that part.
That's part of that standard that was established by APCO ANSI. So,
Well, and I think that was part of my question early, was that we adopted the APCO standards, but we did it because the state
State said that,
statutes
yes.
required us to have it.
we
Would
have
that
to,
be
we
true?
have to meet
Okay.
the APCO ANSI
No,
standard.
That's what's really important for
Yes.
these people to hear.
Yeah.
And then APCO is requiring a company like this to
APCO
monitor
requires
that.
10% to be
Right.
quality checked.
And there is a time frame, correct, on?
It's supposed to be immediate, yes. And I'm
there's
out
no
of
way
compliance there, but
There's no way that's happening if you're doing it by hand,
no,
so,
cause we can't put enough hours into it a month.
for that.
Now, is there a time frame on this pricing?
A time frame on the pricing, they didn't give me one.
Okay.
There's some kind of discount associated with this, it looks like.
Yes, there is a discount on there.
And what you got, the email, I guess, is from the Nebraska Public Service Commission
Yes,
confirming that you can use your, public service 911 surcharge fee
to pay
or
for this.
account to
Yes.
pay for this AI.
Yes,
Thanks. So that's where you come up with the, let me look at the all total, 33,520.
and that is a substantial number. However, it will quality check every call, not just the ones we
10%.
tell it to.
Not just
It will
the
do
10.
every call. So we can establish a pattern where people are doing something that they shouldn't be doing, mishandling information, mishandling how they perceive the information and what they're giving out. It will also do the radio, so that we know that the information that we gathered is the information that we're providing back to the responders. So we know that piece is going out as well. Right now, we aren't doing that, and there's no way we can do that. We just don't have the time.
You know, it just, this whole process, and when we've talked about a new dispatcher takes how long to be trained and then be able to be
5.5 months.
5.5 months, you know, it just seems to me that, that whole process has gotten out of control a little bit, and the public service people, I think, ought to know a little bit about that. Obviously, we used to be able to hire dispatchers. I remember right over here in this building when we had dispatchers here as part of the sheriff's office, and you know, dispatchers would be hired today and listen in to and help out for 2 or 3 days, and then by the 4th day they were doing the most simple basic communication to officers and things in the field. And I don't know, it just seems to me like that we've taken this to a level that at some point in time, again, when is enough in the regulation side of things, where you have to keep going further and further and further? It seems to me that they've pushed that to a limit. And I still say that 5.5 months virtually is almost as long. I don't know of anyone longer in this building, including, the sheriff's probably still over here, but how long they have to go, and they send them to Grand Island for training. But I don't think it's 5.5 months.
I've never heard of something like that.
The sheriff's on his way up.
Oh, good. Yeah. How long does it take when you send people?
Right now, it's 16 weeks.
16 weeks.
16 weeks
So,
5.5 months.
in
That's-
Grand Island, and they come back here and they're 12 weeks with a field training officer.
right. But they're out there doing it with them, with someone.
With some.
And my dispatchers are out there doing it
Yeah.
hands-on
Just
for
not
4
fully
months.
trained, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
They're in the classroom for 6 weeks. And then they go out and they sit on the floor with someone, with a trainer, and they spend 4 months on the floor learning how to do it with someone beside them so that they can ensure safety.
And but they're doing it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes me feel better
Why not?
because it's not what I understood before.
That's what I understood too. I understood until they were trained, they couldn't.
They
even
couldn't
talk.
do a
Oh,
thing.
no.
That's what we would.
They're-
That's
Well,
what I thought.
Well,
I'd
this-
recommend you guys, once in a while, go down there and spend time, plug into a console with the dispatcher and listen for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
We'd love to
It's
have
very,
you.
very educational, very informative.
I certainly have not done that recently.
One of the things, I know we talked about it on the not the communication, but the, I just lost the word, our, answering of calls, the alarm situation, and the issue of liability.
Yes,
And that has changed considerably over the years.
Yeah.
yes.
From the old dial-up, I need a fire truck or I need a policeman to, if you do anything wrong, you're opening yourself up to a lot of problems.
Yes, you
A
are.
lot of problems. And, so, you know, I can see where it's necessary before that person hits the floor and is by themselves on a microphone that they know what they're doing. Because they put the whole county in a position of lawsuits, whatever else is going to happen. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I would move that we would approve the, purchasing of the Critical Insights A1 software,
I'll second that.
AI software.
I'll second that.
And I would only ask is that includes this up to 33,520, the way I understand it. You'll try
I
and
will.
help negotiate if we
Yes.
can, anything less.
Or have Robert call him.
I would be glad to.
He'll twist her arm.
Maybe you can do it,
I bet you would.
maybe you can do it on a speakerphone together or something, so.
That'd be great.
All right, so that's the
Good.
motion, and, is there any other discussion? What it certainly would also then tell us, and you've told us, that it will save costs,
Yes.
certainly lots of costs by September. But it ought to free up some time down there for some people, and it, ought to save payroll cost overall,
Yes.
all right? Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Cindy, before you sit down, how are we doing with the alarm debacle or
Can you vote?
issues?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Please.
can you
I did.
vote?
Try it again.
Yeah,
There.
they don't work all the time.
Where are we at with all of that?
We, are working on some wording and we're having another meeting, this coming Friday. And then by the next commissioner meeting, we should have something to present to you.
Is that you?
Kelly, go ahead.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Was
Yes.
that, was it like 4, 5 meetings back, we asked you to bring us roughly what our revenue losses were gonna be? Cause they started out at 117,000, then they went down to 3,000, and we asked you to get us a closer number. It isn't gonna change anything, but you were gonna bring us back a number.
I have, but we were gonna kind of present it all.
That's fine,
all
but I mean, that's gonna be
together.
on your next step.
Because
Right.
we believe we've came up with a solution to keep those funds and maybe a little more. So,
Yeah, that's what we hope. Anyway, I hadn't heard anything, and I didn't know if that was in the next work.
right.
Right, and
That's what we're working on.
Right, I forgot about that. That's a committee of 3 or 4 of you working
Yeah.
on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
There's another meeting on the 22nd.
Yeah, this Friday.
okay.
Okay, well,
very
thank
good.
you.
Yeah,
Yes.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is discuss and consider ACH medical contract for 2026-2027. Sheriff?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is an annual thing. ACH is American Correctional Healthcare. They are our provider for medical at the jail. And so this is a renewal of that contract. And we think that it's reasonable this year. I don't always think it's reasonable, but it's more reasonable this year than it has been. And you know, it's always they're doing fine right now. That's what I can tell you.
Short version, Sheriff, and so we have available to us, these are registered nurses?
Yes,
All right, and they're,
that was a change to the contract,
okay,
and it caused our price to go up for medical because we had LPNs, and they made a company-wide decision. This is a nationwide company to just go with RNs, which are not required in Nebraska. So that's what we have now. So we absorbed a kind of a big hit in the last couple of years for that. But right now they have RNs, and this contract also includes the vast majority of prescription drugs that we buy for them. And it also includes 24-hour, 7-day-a-week access to a physician. And we have a physician in-house once a week for half a day. And I think that's going to maybe adding a couple more hours. And we have a mental health provider that's in the
part of
facility
this.
too, every week.
and so this, is this agreement 4-year agreement or 1 year?
1 year. This is just, the only thing we're asking you to do is ratify for the next year.
Okay,
This is an increase of, it's around 3%
and
for
so
1 year.
it's a total of $44,370, not to exceed $44,370. Right. So, yeah, I mean, when we think about RNs,
Yeah.
yeah, that seems
It's a lot of money, but
reasonable.
I can tell you so we went out for RFPs a year ago, and we could not beat this price.
Right.
And I've spoken to other jail administrators similar in size to us. Some of them are paying a lot more than we are.
I got a question for you. Being as we have RNs, are they able to prescribe the narcotic type drugs
No,
for the
RNs
behavioral
cannot
health?
prescribe anything.
I mean, but I know before, being as we had LPNs, they could not get narcotic type drugs for the behavioral health people. They had to go with something less than narcotic. But if they would have had access to a RN, then they could prescribe the stronger drugs for the behavioral health people.
I know that we are giving stronger drugs for behavioral health people when they agree to take the drug. We
Right.
can't force anybody to take
Yeah.
drugs.
Yeah, 'cause I know before, because
But
we
I-
only had
but I
LPNs,
don't
they
know.
couldn't
And
do
it needs
it.
to have been
What you're-
prescribed
Right.
by
What you're asking me about, I am totally unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
And the concept of an LPN being unable to administer a particular drug or hand that drug to somebody that an RN can, I've never heard that in my life.
Yeah, that was one of the issues we had before, because when we had some of the federal prisoners come in, been in other facilities that had RNs, they were on narcotics for their behavior issues, but once they got to our facility, they could not, because we did not have an RN on duty. We had just LPNs.
Well, that might have been before my time.
Yeah, it's just something
Could have been,
to
because you were
check
there
into.
before I was.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I just ask you to ratify this. It's an increase that's a better increase than what we've had in past years.
And this goes into effect when? This July, was it?
Yeah, I think it was July. We had to
the new budget year. That's what I thought that we did last time.
I would move for approval of the ACH medical contract for 26-27.
I'll second that motion.
And it is July through June, yeah. All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the medical contract for 26-27. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. Thanks. All right, so you have another item, discuss, review, and consider approval of the short form agreement for professional services between Scotts Bluff County and HDR Architecture Incorporated for needs assessment for a regional juvenile detention center in Scotts Bluff County. Sheriff?
That's correct, and this has this topic has been before you gentlemen for, probably for years, but we're at the point now where we have pitched this, and some of you were in these meetings, in these regional meetings where we've pitched this to the other counties in the Panhandle. And as far as I know, we have universal acceptance of this, and the other counties are willing to help pay for this. It's all based on population, and you have signed the agreement and agreed to pay a certain amount of money for this. And the agreement that's before you now has been approved by Jason Ocean. So they sent an agreement. Jason looked at it. He sent it back to them. He talked to their lawyer, and it didn't take long. And Jason has no issues with this. So this is to do a study to decide if we need a regional juvenile detention center here. First off, we all know that we need it. Everybody on this end of the state knows that we need something on this end of the state. But you can't build one, or if we had all the money that we needed right now to build this, we can't build it. Can't do anything without a study. The study's gonna tell us what are the demands, how big should it be, and in general what it might cost. And that's the only thing that we're paying for right now is a study. And I have told you in the past that I believe that we have the possibility of some funding out there that could potentially come from the federal government. I'm aware of some that's available, would become available in the first part of 2027. And we can't even ask for it. If they've said we want to give you the money, we can't even ask for it without the study. We have to have the study. Telling us the study could take, that they can do it in about 4 months, and I can tell you this, the guy that I dealt with on this talked to me the first time more than 2 years ago, and he showed me another study. I said, that looks pretty expensive, and it was triple what we're gonna pay, and he said, you're a smaller area, I will do it for less. I will do it for 50,000, and I called him this year, and he agreed to do it for 50,000. It's a highly regarded company. They have built jails and juvenile detention centers all over the country, and particularly in our region, they've built multiple ones. And so, you guys have probably seen HDR before. They're a huge engineering company. They've been here. They build roads too. Sure you know about them. So I'm gonna ask you to approve this so we can get this study going.
I have a couple questions for you. This contract is for $50,000 in Scotts Bluff County.
That's right.
That's right. And our share of it, according to our agreement, was $23,000.
Exactly.
Okay, so have you got somebody set up to build these out immediately then? So as soon as
We're gonna have to do that. We
Well, I
have to
know,
work-
I'm just saying, is there someone you have picked out to send these bills?
No, I do not have anyone picked out. We're moving fast on this,
We
Russ.
are, but we've got we've allocated 23,000.
That's right.
And so that, are they satisfied with 23,000?
No,
No.
they're all,
It says we want 50,000.
Scotts Bluff County right now is saying, we will pay you $50,000.
That's right.
And these other counties are saying, we will pay you this much to make this happen.
So my question is, who do we have to collect this other money for us? I mean, that's part of the deal. It's gotta be part of this whole deal.
I would be glad to help the
Would you do
sheriff's
that?
office with
Well,
it.
that, somebody needs to do it. I'm just saying, it needs
Okay.
to be done.
I'd be glad to help out.
Robert can help us with that,
If
and
he'll
that's
and I'm sure he will.
special.
Anyway, just as long as it needs to start as soon as this is signed,
We
it
can,
needs to
we
start
can send
immediately.
bills.
That's what we need to do.
That's easy.
We can
That's
send
my
bills.
question.
Okay.
Cause we don't have 50,000 allocated for it, but we can sure, you know, if we get some money in, we can make it happen.
No, but I will say from my perspective, from the very beginning, I felt that we needed to be ready to commit to the 50
Did you?
with the, because that's the only, if we had to wait for all 12 to get their money in
No, I
here,
realize.
or have a written commitment even, we may be waiting a long time. And I just think that we need to commit, in my opinion, for the $50,000 contract, this contract. And then, with the people and the counties, some have already ratified some kind of a resolution or whatever that they would agree to pay. I think we need to go with that, and that, then we need to get, as you said, the bills out once this is approved.
That's fine.
And, start trying to get them to, or to collect from them. And many of them said, that, they would need to pay it in next fiscal year. Well,
That's
that's
fine.
coming shortly.
That's very short.
If we get it in next fiscal year, that's not gonna kill us in the overall scheme of
They
things.
know when they're
No.
preparing their budget for next
Right,
year, that
that-
they have to budget for this because they agreed to it verbally
Right.
or
That's
whatever.
right.
Right,
That's
and
right.
that's not a long ways out. You
If
know,
we-
we're,
If we build it the 1st of June, they got 30 days, 1st of July, their
right,
budget's there.
I
So
mean,
it's all
that,
there. I mean,
that's
it's
the
right.
new
Well,
fiscal
and at
year.
this point, HDR is saying that in terms of their anticipated allocation for how we would pay this, 50% would be
Yes.
due once the draft assessment report is complete. So we're a little ways down the road before, and then the other half would be when it's finalized.
But tonight, we're
So-
committing, I guess, to 50,000.
In my opinion, we're committing to this
Even though
contract.
we may not have to pay it all up front, but
Right, yeah.
Right.
I agree with that.
Bottom line, we've had a serious problem in our western communities with juveniles. And, we have a sheriff that's moving forward. We got county commissioners and sheriffs in other counties that are willing to move forward. We need to go with this thing.
Oh, yeah.
We need to make it happen, and we set the pace.
I agree, we need to at least get through this phase fairly quickly to find out where we're at.
Well, I move that we approve the short form agreement for professional services between Scotts Bluff County and HDR Architecture Incorporated, for the, study on the juvenile detention center.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the short form agreement as presented. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll vote.
Yep, 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. Thanks for your work on this. Sheriff.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your help.
Thanks for all you've done. Thanks a lot.
All right, next item, discuss and consider resolution for the closure of the county health fund for accounting purposes. Heather?
All right, so as you gentlemen are aware, we no longer have an on-site county health department, but we have always had a county health fund. Robert has come to me and requested that we close the county health fund for accounting purposes, so I just have a resolution requesting that we do that. In the last fiscal year, I think there's been $73 or something like that collected into that fund, and it comes from a distribution payment that we get every year. So as part of this resolution, I'm requesting that all of the funds in that move to the general fund, which I think, what is it, like $1,400 or something like
Or
that?
$1,700.
$1,700, it's not,
Minimal.
Yeah, it's not very much. And that in the future, we can reallocate that payment that we're gonna get every year for like the $70-some just directly to the county general fund. So did you want me to read this resolution? Do you have any other questions, I guess, before I do?
We will have you read it in a minute because it's fairly short, and particularly for those listening that might listen to it later on, I think it might be good. But any other discussion from up here at this point? You agree with all this, Robert? You've been shaking your head.
He requested it, and I
Right.
clarified with the state auditor's office on how to handle it, and this
Yeah.
was what was
Looks good
what
to
was
me.
told.
All right, well, if there's no other discussion at this point, why don't you go ahead and read the resolution?
Okay. It says, whereas the revised statutes of Nebraska, section 23-106, provide that the county board shall manage the county funds, and whereas the Nebraska Auditor of Public Accounts requires county treasurers to use a uniform system of accounting codes, and whereas the funds for county health have been maintained in a fund separate from all other funds, now therefore it be resolved that the Scotts Bluff County Board of Commissioners directs the treasurer of Scotts Bluff County to close fund number 2900 county health before the end of the fiscal year 2025-2026, and to consolidate all current and future funds into fund number 100 county general, passed and approved this 18th day of May 2026.
All right, thank you for reading that. Any other discussion?
Move that we, approve the resolution authorizing the county treasurer to close the county health fund account, transfer that money to the general fund.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Sounds good.
All right, motion's carried. Okay, the next item is to discuss and consider approval to distribute 2026 payment to Lake Mac Assessment. Robert?
Okay, so many of you will remember that we negotiated a contract with Lake Mac Assessment to conduct a commercial review that's required at a minimum of every 6 years, even though we're past that deadline, but that's water under the bridge. But at any rate, when we executed the contract, there was an initial payment in the 24-25 budget budget year of $200,000. Our plan was to accrue or put into a sinking fund $100,000 this year, and again next year, and then in 2027, spring of 2027, we have to pay the balance of roughly $200,000. Once I got into this position and talked with Heather, our treasurer, and with the state, we really don't have a provision or a tool where I can put that into a sinking fund or any type of payable type account, because we're on a cash basis. So our options are, we had it in the budget for this year. It hasn't gone anywhere because I found out we didn't have the utility to be able to reserve that money. So our options, and this is totally up to the board, we can go ahead and pay $100,000 this year, pay $100,000 next year, and that obligation will be completed. Or we could do this, leave the $100 in the general fund and have to pay out $200,000 the following year. So I think it would be beneficial for us to keep that, since we're planning on trying to have a longer term contract with the current reviewer, Lake Mac Assessment. I would recommend we go ahead and pay him $100,000 out of this budget cycle, and then in the 26-27 cycle, pay the final payment of $100,000. The money's been budgeted. We have the money to pay it, and Heather can speak up if she thinks differently. But I think that would be the best route for us to go. And Heather and I did touch base on this, and I think she agrees with me. She can say different if she believes otherwise. But requesting just to pay that $100,000 this year and trying to level out what her payments are to the vendor.
Looks like she's been shaking
Okay.
her head in agreement, so
Right.
she's gonna tell us.
I mean, there really aren't any county sinking funds as far as the county general fund go. So if he's budgeted this money and he's got an open contract, I don't think that they would have a problem taking his $100,000. And it would also be $100,000 less than he would have to budget next year.
For next year.
And one thing, that was a great idea, Russ. You know, I could ask them for a discount to look at the, current value of future cash flows. So we could look at maybe trying to reduce that a little bit.
Right. You could make
Never-
that call right
never
after you
hurts
help
to-
Cindy make.
Yeah,
her-
I can be on a roll on both
Yes.
of those. But he may be willing to do that.
Yeah, but like I said, it would be probably beneficial to both them and us if he would just go ahead and take care of it now.
I have seen them out and about town and in their yellow vests and
Right.
measuring things up and working on commercial properties.
Yep.
Any thoughts from commissioners of, I don't have a problem with
I don't have a problem
paying
with
it.
that at all.
Yeah, and I will.
They've certainly done that much work, wouldn't you say?
They have. They've done a lot of work, and I do think. I mean, that was a really good idea, Russ. I hadn't even thought about that, but to do a net present value calculation, and maybe they'll discount $3,000
Yeah,
to $5,000.
little bit. Right. Okay,
You can use a little cash around here.
Yep.
any other discussion? Entertain a motion, I guess.
I move that we consider approval of the distribution of 2026 payments to Lake Mac Assessment and to authorize our assessor to use his plan to pay that.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve the payment to Big Mac Assessment based upon our discussion tonight. Okay. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Yep, 5 yeses.
All right, motion's carried. All right, so the next item is discuss and consider modification of the blood donation policy 9200. Robert?
Yeah, this is a policy change recommendation that went through the personnel board. And basically at one time, when we had the wellness person here, we would sponsor blood bank, donations and things here. So our policy kind of covered that as well as going to the hospital. This is just consolidated into one paragraph instead of two. That says, yes, you can do this, you can donate during work hours with pay, as long as the departmental workload allows. So we just compressed it down to one applicable policy.
And this is, again, coming to us from the personnel board.
That's correct.
And I wasn't at that meeting, but Mike was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I recommend we approve the change to the blood donation policy 9200.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
So I have a motion to adopt the new updated blood donation policy. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll vote.
Yep, 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. All right, the next one is discuss and consider removing the use of fleet vehicles policy 1700.
Correct. So, again, this is a policy that we really have no use for anymore because we no longer have fleet vehicles. Unless the board feels differently, I doubt that the county will have fleet vehicles again. So the recommendation to the personnel board approved taking this out of our handbook.
So, when we talk about fleet vehicles, we're talking about vehicles that are not assigned to a specific department.
That's because
Because we certainly have that all the time.
they're all assigned to departments. We don't
Right.
have a floater vehicle that anybody in the county
Right.
can use.
Which we used to, and then. So
That
my
was
only
taken
issue
over.
to this is, are we saying we'll never have one in the next 15, 20 years? And, you know, I'm just saying, does it hurt anything to be in there,
What's it
just
hurt
in
if I have
case?
one more page in that book?
Yeah, the reason is we are actively, and me included, are going through the handbook and trying to eliminate
Update.
unnecessary things.
Well, in
And,
and of itself, I agree with that theory.
Right. If you wanna leave it there, we can. I mean, that's completely up to the board.
Well, I just,
I think it's easier to leave it in than to put it back.
well,
You know,
that's
only
kinda
take-
true with the
Isn't that true?
personnel. Well, with
Only
the,
takes 15 minutes to get back.
Can't put it back. You
well,
can't put it back.
yeah,
We've never done anything in 15 minutes to put
No.
a policy
and
up.
it has to come from the personnel
Who you
It's
people
gotta come from
kidding?
the board.
Yeah.
We have no way to.
Yeah.
We don't have
We
the
can't put-
authority to do it.
Well, I'd say with the personnel board, if they decide there's a need for it, they can present it, and then we can approve it if we agree with it.
We won't lose the verbiage. We will have that retained.
You'll
in
save
our
that
files.
somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. We have version control on all the different.
I'll be
handbook.
gone, but these guys might want it.
Right, right.
Wait
Anyway,
3
it's
or
just,
4 years
it's
before
just a
you decide.
desire to eliminate
I'll be gone
unnecessary
too.
things in the handbook. Quite honestly, I'd rather be known for deleting more than adding to.
Right.
I think we got a lot of stuff in there we can clean up.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Entertain a motion.
I move to approve the removing of the use of fleet vehicle policy 1700 from the policy book.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to remove, policy number 1700.011, I think it is. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 4 yeses and 1 no, the nay being Reisig.
All right,
You
motion's
almost had
carried.
two.
Yeah, I,
Almost had two.
Should've
Yeah.
jumped right in there.
I should have.
we need at least a few votes that aren't 5-0.
Yeah, we don't wanna be all five.
You know.
I was close.
Should've jumped
All right.
forward.
So the next item is, discuss and consider leasing part of parcel 01022930 to Skiles Properties LLC.
That's right. And you should have a picture, yep, in your packet. We talked about this, I think, a couple of meetings ago, where we had 4 properties that were encroaching on county property out by the airport. And the board authorized me to send notices out to those property owners requesting that they remove their personal property within 30 days. Good news is, all 4 of those property owners reached out to me promptly. We did find out that the very western property on the north side of our property, DNR, that there is an active lease,
NRD.
NRD, excuse me,
Yeah.
what did I say, DNR?
DNR.
Do not resuscitate.
How funny. So that's not a problem. The property directly to the east of it is 010356436 is owned by Skiles Properties, and Mr. Ray Molina, I should say, Ray Molina. Sorry for your long wait. He's currently has some, I think, some construction things, steel and things across the property on the county's property. He reached out to me timely and said, hey, would there be any possibility that I could enter into a lease with the county for 2 or 3 acres, whatever it would take to encompass the things he has there. I think he's fully fine if the answer is no, but he'd certainly like to do it rather than move it if the county's interested in doing that. And he is here tonight to represent himself. If you guys have any questions, not asking for the board or Mr. Molina to come up with terms tonight, but as to, if, get a decision from the board whether you would entertain that. We could talk about that, or if it's not an option, we can stop it and he can have 30 days to move his equipment.
Did we have a lease on it prior to this?
No, We did not. I do think, and I'll let Ray speak here momentarily if he wants to, but I think he had an understanding with the board several years ago that he could put stuff there, but there's nothing ever in writing that he could use that.
I think
That
it was
land.
Mark Masterson thing.
It
He
was
drove by in
Mark
his car-
Masterson, yeah.
He drove by in his car and said, that's okay.
So
That's the name that Mr. Molina said.
We built the building out there, so I know that was kind of Mark, he kind of okayed that.
So it's, the county's buildings?
Not county buildings, no, it's
No.
county property.
Okay, but I see it there in blue, but who owns the buildings?
Skiles.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Skiles Properties,
Yeah.
and Ray Molina is here representing them.
So we've never had a lease on it?
No. NRD has a lease on their little
Is
bit
it the
there. and they
blue
got like an
highlighted
acre.
property?
Yes.
What's that? The one that is highlighted is a property that Skiles Properties has.
But
and
that's not the one we're talking about. Do you agree? Is that true?
Yes, it is.
That's-
Yes.
It is.
We're- the
right
property
behind it.
just to the south of it, which in the agenda lists the parcel number. This is that parcel just below it, and we talked about this
I
two
see the
meetings ago.
parcel number up here though, don't I?
It is. It goes all the way around the airport.
Okay. I hear them saying the highlighted blue thing, but that's not where we're talking about.
Yeah, I can't help you with colors because I'm colorblind.
We're
So-
talking about extending that, we're extending that property into this other property.
Yeah, so he's actually just looking for a lease for the property south
So-
of the parcel 010356436.
So we have
How
to
much land
change,
did,
I'm sorry, Russ, go.
So
I'm
the,
wondering how much land the NRD leased from us. Is it just 1 acre?
1.6 acres.
Okay, and so there's a line, a rough line that mapping can produce a line for us on one.
It would require more land based on where all of the stuff
Yeah,
is
but
right
they
now.
could,
But we could,
they could tuck that up and straighten it out. If we could bring a straight line that matches NRD's line.
the mapping department
Alright.
can.
and what you're getting tonight, what you're asking for us tonight
Are you interested?
is not to iron out all the details.
No.
Right.
But to get in concept, will we agree to lease something to them or will we not? That's
Right.
really what you're
That's
asking.
all I need.
And then you guys can work on the details
And bring it to you.
Well-
and bring it to us
Yeah.
later.
And
The other buildings that are out there next to the one that ends in 302, is that the one we're talking about?
Robert?
What's
That is the same property.
Okay.
It
are-
circles
are-
around
are
the, it
others-
circles around the airport.
Right, are the other buildings paying any lease or doing anything with that?
No, so there were 4 properties encroaching. NRD already has a lease. Skiles asking for a lease. The other 2 properties that were encroaching have agreed and have already moved the equipment off our property.
Okay,
Those being,
so the buildings themselves are on
Their own property.
their own property.
They're just encroaching. If you can see the machinery, there's trucks and vehicles and steel parked down below there.
That's under
And what I'm
property
trying to
four-
do is get a straight line across here, so
Under
in case we have
436.
another
under
use for that
436.
land, we don't have a
Okay,
bunch
that's
of
where I'm
those.
getting confused
Yeah.
there, where we're,
And for clarification, that what's on the agenda, the parcel number is different than the parcel number in question.
No.
Right, that's because
May I?
this is
Please?
the one
Sure.
and then this is a different one.
He has referenced this parcel number because it wraps all the way around. I heard you talk about the one that's highlighted on the map. That is not the one he's talking about, so I wanted you to see this.
It's the adjacent one that is
Do
dealing
you
with
see
this
all of
property.
this
Right.
highlight? That is all one parcel.
Yeah, it's,
This is the one that's highlighted on your map, but
They want to add on.
they want to lease a few acres of property just south of their property.
The one thing I would say in your process, and we certainly need to have Mr. Molina come up here at some point, but my only point would be that they, it might ought to be short-term, just in that if there was some other opportunity to sell that property to someone else that's gonna move a business in there, whatever, we would want to hopefully be able to get out of that lease in a short amount of time. I know that that lease that we have with, the NRD is, if I remember, minimal payment, but I think we were doing it to a nonprofit governmental entity that we were trying to be cooperative with.
That's right.
This is for a private business that we still want to cooperate with. But being a private for-profit business might cause a little bit of different thinking for you guys as you negotiate this. But Mr. Molina, you come on up, you've waited all night, if you wanna say something, we wanna give you an opportunity to talk.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to talk. It's really interesting what's going on here. I've never been to a council meeting before. But, you know, the property comes in very handy as far as inventories and our processes. And we basically maintain the property as we are now, and we keep everything parked on there, and it's just, it just helps, it's very helpful to have that room to move in and out of there and move our machinery around, and it is all basically raw steel. There are some vehicles parked out there that we park out there to move, trailers. We're an agriculture-based business, and the trailers we make are pretty big, so we need to be able to move our properties and keep a good eye on the inventories. So it helps our efficiencies tremendously. And thanks for listening.
I would add that, Mr. Molina has already said, when, in our conversations, that they take care of the grounds now, mowing it and trimming it, and he would continue to do that if you guys were willing to
we
enter
do
into
that.
a lease.
And when you say that, we're talking about just the amount of property that he uses.
Right.
He's mowing and
Yeah.
taking care of.
Yeah.
You're not talking about that monster
Oh, no.
parcel or anything.
It's
like
huge.
a couple of
We go
hundred
straight
acres.
back
Right.
from our,
Right.
there's certain boundaries there, and we go straight back, and then there's a big, there's kind of a huge divot
Dip
of
there.
sand back there that we can't get in anyway.
Right.
So
Mark?
we just kind of work around it. And there's a nice level area there that we use for storage of steel.
I think
The
we need to
most-
throw out any issues that we might have that Robert can iron out in the negotiation. And then you can bring it back to us at some point.
My question is to you, are you on a 30-day lease, month to
Well,
month?
I don't know, I think you guys could talk about that. I mean, we were giving them 30 days to have their stuff off, but my only concern would be is if for some reason someone else wanted to buy it, that we don't wanna be tied up for a year or 2 years or something like that, which might jeopardize the sale or something.
And any type of contract, obviously, we'd run it through Jason, but I could see something that even if you did an annual lease, if you're interested in doing that, just have a provision that if the county sells this, or
We have a
what,
30-day.
you have a 30-day notice.
Right, something like
No,
that.
I think that'd be
yeah.
great. If we could
We
put
were
that
willing to
together.
do that now,
could do
you know,
that.
he said,
Right.
you're encroaching, you need to move your stuff. Okay, I'll move it. And then I reached out and I said, well, isn't there something we can do? I know that there's
Right.
other
But you own the
equipment.
building. The building belongs to you guys,
Building
Skiles.
Skiles, yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, and so let me ask this. Is that property out there, that is deeded property to the owner?
Right, Skiles owns it.
It's
Correct.
not leased property like some of that is out there, but that property is owned by the owner.
I can confirm that,
When
yes.
Yes.
Rush Hall was live, we built that
Yeah.
building for
Or Rush Hall.
a spec building, then Skiles bought it and we added on to it.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
So if the board is amenable to that, I'd be more than glad to go back
I
and
think
work.
so.
Yeah,
Mr.
We
Molina.
wanna work with you,
I think at
Thank
least a year. I don't know that they need to come here every month to renegotiate
No,
a lease.
No, not at
This
least,
is a-
but it would just renew automatically,
Well,
but then we could get
yeah,
out of
but
it.
my point is, it's a reputable business. It's not something that's temporary.
Yeah, let's,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm talking
we've been
about a
here for
30,
many years.
A 30-day get out of it clause.
Right.
Right, but it's
30-day evacuation.
perpetual till we change it or something. You
Yeah.
can figure out the details.
You know what,
You and Jason and,
Yep, we can do it.
right.
Well, I move that we, allow, Skiles Properties and Robert Simpson enter into a, lease negotiation and come back to the board with their findings for approval.
I'll
Sounds
second
good.
that.
Alright, so we have a motion and a second to have them work on it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you. Any other discussion?
Okay. Real quick.
Hearing none, we'll vote.
I'm pretty sure I've got your number, but what is it again?
There you go. Sorry,
Okay. So go ahead and push your button again possibly.
I got it.
Okay, she's got it.
I'll be in touch with you.
You have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. Alright, so we're up to the, discuss and consider moving bank cards to Platte Valley Bank. Robert?
Yes, and this is my last one, so you guys can quit listening to my scratchy voice. So, let's start with our current bank card system. It's US Bank. We've used US Bank for a number of years. We have some problems. So, in order to set up a bank account like this, it has to be approved by the board. I found this out from, actually, Russ was with me when we were over there, and the auditor of the public accounts was speaking, that any type of bank card has to be approved by the board, and maybe it was initially, but any cards issued on that particular account, if you will, has to be, all those cards have to be approved by the board. And for as many years as Lisa can remember, even Jerry Crable going back, the accountant would issue those cards without commissioner approval. So we've got a problem there that we need to clean up, okay? Doesn't mean that we have to move away from US Bank because of that. That's our problem that we've got to fix. But I would say that the customer service that we get out of US Bank is subpar at best, very difficult to deal with. And the reconciliation that's been performed on this account over the years is also less than desirable. So my recommendation is, I've met with the Platte Valley team, with Hod, with a few of his direct reports, and this Danielle Borjas, she was supposed to be here tonight, unfortunately had something come up, and she was willing to come to our next meeting. But you know, in talking with them about their card service, very similar to US Bank. The difference is, I think the main difference is, that it's a local bank that provides service, that I have names of people that can deal with this. While US Bank has an office in Scotts Bluff, you know, they operate like a regional bank. They don't operate like a local bank. So my recommendation was merely to get your feedback and possibly approval to open a new bank card system with Platte Valley Bank starting July 1, because it'd be perfect timing with the new year, and then subsequently, leave US Bank cards open until, mid to late June, so people still had a card to use. But at the same time, when we did that, if we do that, the board would have to approve that we do move our bank cards to Platte Valley Bank, and then subsequent to that, I would initially provide a group list of individuals that would need a card. And then after that, any new cards that got added would have to be approved by the board as well. We do want to make sure we're following the advice of the auditor of public accounts.
And
So that's
apparently, that's a state statute, is what someone's saying? Or simply-
The actually approval by the board is required by the state. So we've been out of compliance for many, many years.
That goes for every account, basically. Robert, wouldn't we explain every account?
They talked about it more generally, but they really dove into this because there were people asking about bank cards. But in general, yes, the APA would be looking for approval for those to be opened up by the board. That's the message that I got. So I think it can help us from a reconciliation standpoint, help us from a compliance standpoint, and I am quite sure we will have much better customer service out of Platte Valley than we will with US Bank. I know Heather's still here. Heather, do you want to say anything about our relationship with Platte Valley? Has it been good or bad, or? Don't mean to put you on the spot.
So after seeing this on the agenda today, I went ahead and did a little bit of research on it. We can change it to US Bank. Change it from US Bank. There's a specific statute about how county purchase cards have to be set up because they're not they're purchase cards. They're not truly a credit card, but they do have to be affiliated with the bank, and they do have to be accepted everywhere, like a Visa or something like that.
So they're more of a debit card than debit? would you say?
Not even a debit card. I mean, it's basically that just says like, I can buy this, charge it to the county, and the county guarantees that they're gonna
A
pay.
cash card, basically.
Right.
Yeah, it's basically like a cash card, but they don't have like, preloaded amounts as like credit limits and things like that. And I would say that, Platte Valley is always easy to work with for the county, and we are treated very well by Platte Valley. And I wouldn't say that I have a problem with it, other than I'm sure that there are a lot of departments that have, automatic payments set up. And that's probably, we all know on a personal level how much fun it is to reset up payments. But as long as we follow the statute, and as long as the bank is willing to follow the statute and helping us get it set up properly, I wouldn't object to it.
I agree
But-
with that, and the idea that, again, those automatic payments, hopefully they could be fixed or transferred within 30 days, but I'd be cautious of just simply saying, we'll close those accounts and,
And we
I
could-
mean,
we
and
could
in
do
all
it whenever.
honesty, I mean,
could-
you would, I know the idea would be to have everybody using new cards by the end of
right.
June, but realistically, it maybe needs to be the end of July, so that everybody can take the month of July and get their stuff set up and hopefully transferred, and then possibly if there's anything at the end that needs to be cleaned up, it would probably be.
I agree with that basic theory, but maybe the new ones can be,
Effective
put
July 1.
effective July 1, and then cleaning up the old for 30 days.
Just to make sure, cause I'm sure it's gonna take the clerk's office a while to get all of those credit card
Cleared out.
statements and
Right, that's
the
what I'm
claims
thinking too.
paid out.
Yeah, you may have stuff showing up on statements for at least 30 days after, or maybe more, but
Yeah,
normally they're
and,
30 days.
and
Yeah.
as long as, like I said, I'm sure that the customer service with Platte Valley is a lot better than it is with US Bank, just because it's a lot easier to get a hold of somebody at Platte Valley. But on the other hand, and I don't know if this plays into it at all, I do know that Platte Valley debit cards have sometimes had issues, as far as security issues, and it seems like that's more of an issue that I hear about from talking to people, and that's not one I ever hear about with US Bank, so.
Only if you're in line at Walmart and your basket is full and ready to go to the parking lot. That'd be about the
And
time.
you spend an hour and a half shopping,
And
and,
that's
Yeah.
about the time that issue comes
Yeah.
up,
Right.
yeah.
yeah, so, I mean, as long as we can get some sort of a secure system set up.
It seems to me that on those credit cards, many times, they have an affiliation with the local bank, and maybe indeed we can call the local bank, but I'll almost guarantee you that 800 number on the back of that card's not gonna go to the local bank. It's gonna go to
Yeah,
the
so-
big Visa.
With, in talking with Hod and talking with Danielle and a few other people there, we have direct access to the customer service people in Scotts Bluff.
That
We're
would
not
be
gonna-
critical, I think, in
It
this.
is, yeah.
And like I said, and if you wanna look it up, there is a state statute that directs it specifically, and it's state statute 13-610, which, pretty much outlines exactly how the credit card system would have to be set up within the county. So I don't know if it's something that you would, I don't know if you've referenced that statute in talking to them at all or not.
They are familiar with that because they have similar accounts with many other entities, taxing authorities. So other counties, other cities, schools, yeah, they have a lot.
And I would say that for the most part, I think US Bank was probably the first company that came up with a program based on this state statute. So that's probably where our use of it came from. So, and I'm sure that way back when we set this up, Platte Valley wasn't an option.
Yes, you mentioned, and I don't know if we feel that we should have this Danielle, come and see us at our next meeting, or,
She has
I mean-
offered to come on the June first meeting.
alright? So I don't know if we think we need, I mean, I believe that they'll do everything that US Bank's doing or more.
Oh, and yeah, I'm
or
sure that
more.
they will. And like I
Okay.
said, Platte Valley is also, but you know, like with US Bank, you know, we can't incur late fees, we can't, you know, pay interest and all of those kinds of things, so I'm sure that they're
They've
well
got a
aware.
pretty good track record.
Yeah.
I think
So-
they'll be fine.
I mean, I don't know that I have to talk to her, what do you guys think?
I don't think it's necessary. I think if Robert's met with her and Heather's comfortable, I think
And
they
I
can
don't
move
have
on.
any other than my card for the treasurer's office, which I would, and I don't know like how the sheriff feels, and I don't know, but like my credit card is set up, you know, just for my office specifically. I don't want my name on it. So, and I know that you and I have had that conversation.
Right, and my card says assessor.
Because if I
Yours
need to
shouldn't
send
say- but
somebody,
It's okay to say treasurer though, right?
it just says county treasurer, so
County
if I
treasurer.
need to send somebody to a class or something and they need a card to take along with them,
can
they
give
are
it to
able to use it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Instead of having a bunch of cards out there that have employees' names on them.
I agree.
Yeah, 100% agree, we shouldn't have their names on it. And I think it kind of transitioned at some point, where some of the newer cards went by with the department name, but some of the older cards went with names.
And with that thought in mind, wouldn't we, possibly end up with less total cards issued than what we have today, do you think?
Yeah, possibly, I think that there are certain departments that require multiple cards, because I'm sure sheriff is here. He's got people traveling, he's got people doing transport out of the detention center, so we couldn't say, sheriff, you only get one card.
Right.
But we could for my department, and probably for her
Yeah,
Heather's
yeah.
department.
And, you know, like, with as many cards out there, I mean, it should be general rule of thumb that if anybody does have a card and they terminate employment, that card needs to get shut down immediately. I would imagine the card should be turned in along with their county access key and all of that kind of stuff. It would need to be, which I'm sure it gets shut down anyways,
It does, yeah.
Good.
you know.
So, is anyone saying that they think they need to hear from Danielle?
I don't think we do.
I don't think I do.
I think we're good.
So I don't think she has to be here. I think you can, then the question, I guess, for the commissioners is, do we need to vote in principle to let Robert move forward with this, or? Okay,
I move that we, authorize Robert
Thank
to
you.
move forward with the bank cards with Platte Valley Bank and eventually discontinue the US Bank cards.
A second. Second. Oh,
Okay,
go
got a
right
s-
ahead.
motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Yep, 5 yeses.
Okay, motion's carried. We're doing pretty good, better than I thought we would be. So, okay, we're not done though. Old business, we don't have any. We're going to public comments. The Board of Commissioners will receive public comments on items discussed at this meeting or suggestions for items of discussion at a future board meeting, but the board will not take action on comments presented this date. So I'd ask, is there anyone here this evening from the public that would like to comment on anything?
I think we wore them down.
Yeah, it looks like,
I'd like to
All right.
discuss the time clocks. No,
Pardon me?
I'd like to discuss the time clocks. We haven't for a long
Time clocks?
I'm just kidding.
you can do that here in a little bit if you want
Either
to.
that or the window up in the, never mind.
All right, so I don't see anyone from the public coming forward, so we'll go on to the next item. The board and staff reports with discussion, and again, if you have any legislation, I would say you should include that with, your report. Let's see, I think we're headed this way first. Robert?
Okay, just a few things. So it's that time of year, obviously protest season is gonna be upon us, June 1st to June 30th. Just so the board is aware of some other dates that are the office, the assessor's office is statutorily required to meet. The notices of valuation changes have to be out, by June first. They're being mailed, MIPS is actually doing the preparation and mailing for us. They're going out in the mail on May 29th. And also, we will have it published in the Star Herald on May 30th. That's already set up. The notice is out there. It's already set up to publish.
Do you know how many's going out?
Do not know yet, and the
Okay.
reason being is that it has to be effective May 20th.
Okay. That's
So I'll
all right.
run a report on May 21st, and then send that to MIPS, and then I will know exactly how many.
Yeah, that's all right.
Did you send us an email?
I can send you an email.
That'd be good.
And then a press release is required by state statute by no later than June the 6th, but it will be going out on June the 1st to all of our regular contacts in the press. So those are the dates on the notices. As a reminder, we will have a meeting on June 1st at 3:30 prior to the board meeting for prepping for the protests.
Yeah, and that's an official commissioner meeting.
Right.
It'll be advertised as such, right, Kelly?
On June first?
June first,
We talked about it in the last meeting.
right. So that's at 3:30, 1 hour before our normal meeting.
Right.
And it's kind of a pre-protest review meeting.
Just going through our process, make sure everybody's on the same sheet of music. We've done it every year for the last 2 or 3 years, yeah.
Okay.
Lastly, budget update. So instructions were sent out today to all of the officials with regard to amounts to budget for county contribution things like HSA, FICA, a variety of different items, insurance, retirement, all those things. And tomorrow, I would do it tonight, but it's gonna be a little late, but tomorrow morning, I'm gonna send out all of their budget worksheets. They're prepared and ready to go with their expenses and line items and revenue items, if so applicable. And the information going out will ask for those to be returned to my office by June 8th. So give everybody roughly 3 weeks to get their initial draft or their numbers in. And then as quickly as I can after that, I'll put together all of those budgets and give a draft to the board to look at, and hopefully be at the point where we're at 15.5 million or less. I did communicate to the stakeholders that if they're unable to meet the guidelines that the board set as far as total is 15.5 million, which basically means a 1.3% increase in their expenses, that they would need to set up an appointment with me. We need to go through it, and if we're unable to resolve it, I'll schedule time with those individuals with the board, since the board made a decision on the cap on the budget. So anyway, that's gonna be out tomorrow. I think we've got, people are certainly waiting to jump on this and get it done. So everybody's been very cooperative so far. And I do appreciate that. And that's all I've got on it.
Robert, I might ask, in years past, and I know we talked about COLA or no COLA, that there are numbers that could be put out on what a 1% COLA would be, what a 2% COLA, what a 3%. Is that too much to ask?
I personally have not been asked to do that.
Yeah,
But certainly we can't.
what's that?
Huh?
What's that?
With the increase in the budget, I don't even know if you have enough to cover step increases for all the employees.
Yeah. Well, it would just be nice to have that if in fact there is some
Right.
some
Yeah,
room that.
I mean, if
this
the
is
board
what's gonna
desires, I can certainly do that.
Yeah.
I think the board's initial, and this happens quite often, tell me if I'm wrong, is that, hey, we're, up front, I think usually it's like no COLA, and then as we get into the process, cause there's gonna be a 4-month process, that the board may determine that there's a COLA.
Depends what money's left over, Carol.
Well,
Right.
but that's where that would come in handy, that if in fact we want a 2 or 3 or whatever, that's what the total cost of that's going to be added on to the bottom line.
Yep, certainly I can produce that. I haven't been
That
asked
would-
until
that
now.
would help. Okay, consider yourself asked.
Okay.
How's that?
All right.
Okay. Is that all you have, Robert?
Yeah, that's it.
Jason?
No report, thank you.
Is the sheriff back there? Do you have anything, Sheriff?
The sheriff has nothing.
All right, thank you.
Nothing.
All right, John?
Haven't already heard tonight.
All right, appreciate it. Ms. Heather?
I'm gonna yield my time to Kurt because he has been chomping at the bit. to
All right.
hear about it.
All right, we can come back to you if we need to.
Yield my time.
Couple things, I'll try to keep it short. I just got an email today from, our state national association. The surface transportation reauthorization bill has been released for comment prior to the markup period. A couple good things in that, a couple unknowns still, but, some things that probably don't matter that much, but they're streamlining the NEPA process, which is the environmental review process. So in the event we were to get that grant for a facility, it's supposed to streamline the whole process, start to finish. They are increasing the 5311 funding, which that's where it comes from. That's gonna be over $1 billion. Again, that's unfortunately not just for me. These are things that are still in the bill, has to go through the market process before it gets passed, but they're fairly confident. When we go to sell old vehicles, we used to have to, if we recouped more than $5,000, we had to send a part of that back to the FTA. Now, if this passes, that won't be necessary. Those funds do have to go into our 2201 fund for capital expenditures to be used to replace a capital expenditure, like buses. So that'll help us recycle more of those funds to replace our fleet as it ages out. And with that, they're also looking at increases to the 5339 fund, which is for buses and bus facilities. Because right now, the state only gets $4 million a year. Now it's gonna go to $6. But when a bus is $165,000, that doesn't go very far. And, but they're trying to get that, amount increased. Sat in one of the sessions when I was at our national expo in Omaha, with the bus coalition saying it's grossly oversubscribed, they call it. They have so many requests for buses and the money's not there. And, I have a meeting Thursday with our state transit director and our executive director of our association. The state's been directing us not to apply for buses because we don't have the funds. But the bus coalition deals directly with the folks in DC and says, we want the requests in because then that shows the numbers. Hey, you're grossly underfunding this. So they want us to put those in even though we know we're not gonna get them. So I'll be probably bringing that for you too because I was gonna apply for an additional minivan, funds for an additional minivan and a Ford Transit. So that's where that's at. A lot of good things, but it just came out today for the comment period. Spent last week in Omaha, lots of good networking, good sessions, looking at some potential funding things that I'm just starting to research. Again, working with, trying to reach out with NDOT and kind of extend the olive branch. We've had some kind of contentious relationships and it's not getting us anywhere. You know, what's done is done. We need to fix it. I feel like we kind of hit the bottom of the cliff. Now it's time to climb back out. So rural health transformation program. State of Nebraska got $218 million for that, and it's one of the key words in all their goals is access to healthcare. So we're going to work with the state and our association to hopefully approach DHHS to see if we can put some of those funds into public transit to help folks access healthcare, whether it be the hospital, dialysis, community action, because they're a partner with that. Gal in Indiana, I visited with her, just sitting on the bus to a function, and she talked about reaching out to local foundations, and you know, I told her I had looked at like Oregon Trail Community Foundation. Well, one of their stipulations is they don't provide funding for operating funds, operating dollars. And she said, well, sometimes you can do a workaround with that as far as a subsidy, or she said, you know, you do have expenses that are separated out as non-operating. So she said she'd help me work on some language on something like that. Again, trying to, any different opportunity we have for additional funding, and reading through the new draft of the surface transportation rate. There's some different new pools of money that we may or may not be eligible for, but again, we'll be working with NDOT on that, to determine if we have any eligibility for that. Have not received a response on our grant application yet. We should have that by no later than the end of June. Did get an email back from Senator Fisher's legislative assistant regarding the letter we sent. He did assure me he was going to personally deliver that to her, and I have not heard from the other two yet. But we are also working on a letter from our state association, and then part of my meeting Thursday will be to talk to NDOT about the same thing from them, is get a letter from NDOT reaching out, stating that state of Nebraska needs more money because we're growing rapidly in public transit. So, other than that, great conference, trying to budget for it next year, but we do have what we call RTAP funds. It's the Rural Transit Assistance Program, which is federally funded, but most of those are 100% reimbursed, so the next year it's in Atlantic City, New Jersey, but in the years I've been doing this, that was the best conference I've been to as far as information and networking opportunities to learn new things. So that's all I have to report on that. And then we have a meeting Wednesday with the electrician on the generator.
Yeah, we might, I'll do that later, I'll talk to him.
So yeah, so Russ had set that up. I'll be out there to assist them. And other than that, any questions for me?
Keep up the good work, stay on it.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Stick around, I wanna talk on that a minute, Kurt, before you leave, if you.
Ms. Heather, do you wanna say anything? Okay, all right.
Kelly?
Ms. Kelly.
Canvassing board convened today to audit my election. They had to go through like our provisionals to see what we can count towards the election numbers, and I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks, they'll have it finalized probably.
Did the IDs cause you much problem?
It's getting so much better. I mean, I kind of visited all of my precincts in Scotts Bluff, Terrytown, the college, UNL, and then all of Gearing, cause they're all at the Civic Center. And then I went Lyman to all the small precincts, and then on to Minutair, because the school, formerly known as the church, it was the first time we'd used that, and I wanted to see, I do see some issues with how we set up, but that's something I can probably work out with the superintendent. But as I was visiting, it seemed like every time I got there, there would be a voter walking in. So I got to witness how they were taking care of our voters, and people were walking up with their ID already out. So, I mean, it's already become a pretty good habit. I mean, they've needed it since May of 24, so they're used to it. And there was a pretty good campaign from the state in 2024. So.
Okay, good. I seen that we were, again, one of the lowest turnouts in the state, which is disappointing, somewhat.
It's where we're always sitting.
Yeah. We need to encourage our people to vote.
Yes, we do.
Voice their opinions, and, you know, I certainly have some reservations about the mail-in ballots and the potential fraud, but Morrill County's been pretty doggone successful with that.
Well, and you need to come, let me explain what we do. I mean,
Yeah, because you make several things available to people, to vote early and all of those things.
but
and-
I want you to see the process, if it is by mail, or what we do to help watch for fraud.
Yeah. And I did talk to a few Morrill County people that said that, you know, they have to provide, information, their, driver's license and other information to help verify who they are.
You have to sign your envelope.
Yeah, so,
And-
and then they particularly said, instead of mailing it in, we drop it off there, so that we know that it goes directly to them.
Right.
And I like that idea, but I know they're not all done that way, but they've been successful with turnout, very successful with that, and so it's kinda interesting. Okay, we appreciate that. Anything else?
Not off the top of my head right now.
All right. Matt, I guess we're going to you.
So, I don't have much. The, tourism board met last week. And that was, yeah, the NACO budget webinar is next week, and I think I'm signed up for it. I'm pretty sure I did. Planning to learn through that. National Tourism Week was last week, or a week ago, and I think it really went well. So, that's all I have.
Ken?
Several meetings at Kaplan on last Tuesday night and then my normal Thursday meetings. Not much going on with them. We're still kind of in a turmoil over at the aging office. We have the executive director that is kind of running the show. Waiting on some reports and things to come in. I don't know where that's all gonna end up. Region 1, they're still working, still in the process of getting that crisis center down in Kimball going. The state's kind of giving fits. They keep requiring more and more stuff. That it all costs money for. So that's been a little issue. It's kind of really relatively short meeting. Disabilities, there's not a whole lot, going on with them, but, I spend most of the day Thursday during the day in meetings, so it's, that's pretty much it.
Ken, is Betsy back to Kaplan yet, or is she still?
Yes, she's back. She's back. I didn't know that she had a baby.
Yes, she did.
Well, I didn't realize I was gone long enough for her to get pregnant and have a baby.
Well, you were gone quite a while there. You know.
Evidently must have been.
So let me just mention, and Sheriff, while you're still here, I noticed the email that, we're having a jail standards, visit, June 18th, it looked like.
That is the annual inspection.
Right. So,
We just
standard
added
stuff.
Annual inspection from the federal government.
Oh, really?
So we had the US Marshals from Wyoming and Colorado were here to inspect our jail
Good. And this is the one from the state.
from the state of Nebraska.
Right.
And it's every year.
Right. And it's nothing really that we have to be part of, but it's nice to know and be aware of, and I'm sure you'll report to us sometime how you did, so. I had on Thursday Panhandle Public Health meeting, and, something you should be aware of, I guess the state, health department is, pulling back from being the inspector on swimming pools. And so because of that, they're recommending, a couple options, and one of them is for the public, health departments, like Panhandle Public Health, to, take that inspection service over. And, so there's some talk about doing that. There's some talk about how that can happen logistically and legally. But the state's kind of encouraging that to happen. So anyway, you should be aware of that. We might be seeing some recommended processes for us to come on board with asking them to do that.
That's private and,
Yeah,
public pools. both.
that's right. So those inspections that used to be done by the State Department of Health is now pulling back from that. And so it's a little bit different, and, you know, I asked them, so are those entities that have pools going to like us for doing that? And, or are they not gonna like us if we do that? And, the opinion was both. You know, there's several of them that want to be inspected in an effort, it kinda reduces their liability, and they can say, we've been inspected by whoever. But then there'll be some other ones that it would make it a little difficult on. I see these smaller swimming pools like at motels, hotels, that, you know, them, meeting the requirements. The Panhandle Public Health may also be involved with doing the, what's called operator training, the people that actually operate the pool and check the chemical levels and those kind of things. And, so it's a little bit different than what they've done before. So just be aware of that. And we might be asked to take part in that, possibly if it requires laws to require people to use them for an inspector. I think that's it for me.
Mark, I do have one other thing before I forget it, as I did the first time.
Go ahead.
I've had a couple of several phone calls, discussions about, fireworks. I see we got a letter, or you sent a copy of some letter that went out.
It was sent to him, but I think
Sent to
the
you.
other, commissioners were CC'd.
You didn't get it? Okay. It was from an attorney. I'll tell you who it was, representing somebody up around Laurel or something about the ban on burning or something about fireworks.
Okay.
I called Doug Holbein, the fire marshal, state fire marshal, to see what is going on with that. He indicated that there were, oh, I'm sorry. He had indicated that there were some counties that were talking about it but hadn't done it yet. They don't have anything to do with it. They don't have the authority to put a ban on fireworks. Individual cities can do that. I talked with Kevin Spencer this morning also. He talked with his fire chief, and they felt that being in town was not quite as dangerous as the county out in the country. So I don't know where they're going to end up. They're kind of watching to see what things happen. Doug had indicated that he's had three meetings with the governor, and that would be the place to start. But he said politically, he's not sure that anybody wants to touch this at this particular point. So if we wanted to do something, the only thing that we would be able to do would be something outside the city limits in Scotts Bluff County, if in fact it ever hits that.
I think the only growth we're gonna get's in the next 30 days, cause I have absolutely no growth out there. I had a fella call me the other day and asked me how I killed all my, cheatgrass, and I said, I haven't killed anything. He
Yes,
said, well, there's no
it's-
cheatgrass on your farm. I said, well, it's cause it hasn't rained
It died
in
of
6
thirst.
months.
It just died of thirst, that's
It
all it amounts to.
dried up, it did.
So anyway, I wanted to bring that up, cause I don't know where that's going,
Yeah,
that's going to go.
fire chiefs will generally do that, won't they? I
And,
mean, per
well,
town.
they have the authority,
Yeah.
according to Holbein, they have the authority to do that within their municipality. We have the authority to do that within Scotts Bluff County. But, and Doug made a good point. He said, if you do that, number one, who's going to regulate it? Who's going to go out and
Enforce
watch it? Well, yeah, supposedly, that's the first
Supposedly.
name that comes up.
First call.
But
That's the first
by the
guy.
time they get the call and he sends a deputy, they're done anyway, so
Yeah.
it's, it's gonna be hard to regulate. It's really going to be hard to
can see,
regulate. If in fact, and hopefully, I guess, maybe if we put it out to the media to have people just use some common sense with all of this. If you're in an area that has a lot of dry grass,
I've got a pasture behind my house,
Nothing growing.
and there's
It's about that tall.
yeah.
There's nothing there.
And I think half of this fireworks in Scotts Bluff
I think-
were purchased by the kids that live on my block. 'Cause
I think
I'm pretty sure.
if we get this rain and another rain, I think everything's gonna be green. I don't think it's gonna be brown, cause there's
It might, yeah,
nothing-
it may,
there's
it
no
it may be
carryover.
okay, it may be okay.
I don't
But,
know.
but the feeling that I got after talking with Holbein was that it's so political that the governor's not sure that he wants to touch it. Holbein said, I ain't touching it. Yeah,
Let the fire department stomp them out, I guess.
exactly, and he doesn't really have the authority to do it either. But each municipality has that authority if they want to do that in their area, or we could do it as far as the countywide is concerned. But, just letting you know that it's not gonna go away. We're gonna get called back on it.
We may get more calls about it. You know, I have told people many years that I'm an advocate of fireworks. I love to see them. I love to see them shot off. I don't shoot them off personally much anymore, but I think they're wonderful. But this year is a little different, and I think it causes us to reflect just a little bit about where do we need to be. I mentioned to Mike earlier this evening, but I drove out to Big Lake Alice over the weekend, and I was surprised to see that it's dry. No water in it at all that I could see anywhere from the dam. The vegetation around there, some was taller, some was shorter that had grown before, but dry. I mean, totally dry. And so there's lots of things dry. Then I also drove over to Little Lake Alice, and there may be 10% of the floor is covered with some water, but that's all. Otherwise, 90% of that one is dry. And I didn't drive over to what is it, Winters Creek Lake. I didn't drive there, nor to Lake Minnetonka, but I was shocked when I drove up there at Big Lake Alice and no water whatsoever. So anyway, it's even worse than I thought. Fortunately, we're getting a little bit of relief today. It hasn't been much, I don't think, at least before we walked in here. Total.
The other thing that he did talk about was and he deals with them more than anybody else, are the retailers, those that are selling it.
Right.
That most of them have either received their supply, or it's on the way, or whatever the case might be. And for some of those folks, that's a big chunk of their yearly income. It's a large chunk of their yearly income.
But I can see why the politicians don't wanna touch this, our 250th anniversary.
Right.
And
Yeah.
everybody's gonna wanna have fireworks.
Nobody's interested in doing a whole
I think
lot.
what they need to do is designate some areas, just like if Lake Alice doesn't have water, maybe we'll go out there and set the fireworks off, everybody could come,
Yeah.
whatever.
And
Gotta
when,
be some designated
and when you do that, who's going to enforce it? What are the fines going to be? I mean, what's gonna happen?
I think they need to be designated by either the county
Yeah.
or somebody else,
Yeah.
not the county, but
But
whoever
just,
needs to
just
do it.
kinda keep it in the back of your mind, if you would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a difficult subject. But anyway, Mike, go ahead with your stuff.
Well, last Tuesday I attended a county housing meeting, and then, the next Thursday I went to a National Day of Prayer event, and there's only 2 elected officials there. On the 12th, I went to the 9/11 Advisory Board meeting, and on the 14th, I went to a CERT-sponsored, canine training for area law enforcement personnel, so they better understand when to call in dog teams, what type of dog teams come in and how they work. The 15th, I attended the law enforcement memorial ceremony at West Lawn Cemetery. Again, there was 3 elected officials there. The 16th, I attended a airport fire drill with the CERT people. And due to fire restrictions, we just put a lot of water on stuff and no actual fires. And then today, I attended Sherry Blaha's memorial service. She's former emergency management director for the county and two-term county commissioner. And there's a retired deputy there, retired weed authority person there, and one commissioner there. I think we need to really kind of watch the obituaries a little bit and try to honor some of our former employees if we can. It means a lot to their families. The 22nd, I have the 9/11 Alarm Committee meeting with Jason Ocean and the other people to finalize what we're going to do. The 25th, I'm the Memorial Day speaker out East Lawn Cemetery, so that's about it.
Russ?
Last meeting I was asked to get a hold of Wes Robinson and look at the gen set for out at the gas system out at the bus barn. So we've got a meeting set up for Wednesday the 20th here this week. Kurt's gonna be there. Steve Davidson set it up. I asked, he's been gone for 2 weeks. He just got back this week, so I asked him to set it up. So Wes Robinson, Steve Davidson, Steve Baird, Kurt and I are gonna meet Wednesday and look at what chances are, give us a spec on some sort of a gen set on that. And the assessor's door, was that painted today or this week? Have they painted that, Robert?
Steve did, I think the part of last week, painted it a couple days.
Okay, well, they finished the door in the assessor's office, that's been done. County court, the 2 sets of windows are supposed to be done by July for our, this year's budget. Steve had some slots he had to cut into one of them, he don't have to drop both of them, but, Thompson Glass is gonna be installing aluminum frames and glass in there, so that should be all taken care of by the end of the budget season, so that's about all I have. Oh, and I guess I had you stay for that visit, but, did you have any other questions on it?
No, as like I said, the original plan was, once we do this one, was up and running out here, actually we left people in some basement here.
We're not even gonna leave here.
I don't think that, so I guess the questions to us will be,
Are we talking off mic again?
yes, we are. Probably the questions for Wes will be, is there any way to power both buildings with one generator? Or are we gonna need a separate one for the bus barn fuel facility and then a separate one for
Well, that's things we're gonna
two
find out.
smaller ones, but I know the Roads and Bridges building has 2 separate utility feeds, power feeds, so that one might be a little more costly to set up. But we don't, again, we would need minimal power in that building to run some basic lights, a few computers to be able to run, and our radios for dispatch.
And to run your pump.
And, but the fuel, the bus barn is set up with the emergency storm shelter, tornado rated, and is also, can be used for, well, the CERT team used it for a search, operation one night, and can be used as an evacuation facility as well, so it's probably imperative that we have, lights and some heat during the winter time and be able to, get some fuel. Because there's other options for fuel too, and so the folks I met with, trying to get the state to spec in, buses that run on liquid propane, and other than the electrical to it, the propane company I met with would provide the infrastructure, and they recoup their money on a small charge per gallon on the propane, and it's cheaper than fuel and cleaner. So that's a possibility for maybe a sustainability grant, but we need to get the state to spec in those buses first before we can go down that route. So that's part of our meeting on Thursday.
All right. Anything else, Russ? Is that it? All right. Anyone else? Hearing none, meeting's adjourned. I had to go to the funeral this morning for my aunt and Baird.
Oh, yeah, I remember Ruth. She's a nice lady.